Roughly 1 in every 3 people who walk this earth today profess to be Christian. They claim Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. But is he really? Do Christians today truly follow the religion which Jesus taught? Or was his call hijacked somewhere along the way? Remember, Jesus told us to watch out for false teachers, deceivers who appear as wolves in sheep's clothing. A reminder that the most dangerous enemies are the ones who you think you can trust, the ones who infiltrate and devour a flock from within. Jesus Christ, the Good Shepherd, told us exactly who to follow after him. He named his chief disciple, Simon Peter, as his successor, the rock upon which his church would be built. But somehow, another man, not Simon Peter, ended up becoming the dominant voice of Christianity. Roughly half of the books which fill the pages of the New Testament were written by one man, a man who never even met Jesus, a man with a deeply rooted hatred for Christians, a man called Saul of Tarsus, better known today as the Apostle Paul. Paul's teachings are so influential, some have even dubbed him the founder of Christianity, a claim which reveals a big problem. Paul's doctrine is often at odds with the message of Jesus, which begs the question, was Paul an apostle or an impostor, a messenger from Christ, or an antichrist who has led 1/3 of the world's population astray? Join us on Al Rayat Al Sud satellite channel as we tell the story of the man who stole the religion of Jesus and founded Christianity as we know it today, Paul, the false apostle. The year is roughly 36 AD. The place, Jerusalem. This is the holy city where the teachings of Christ once rang out into the air. But now, just a few years after the crucifixion, the winds have changed direction and some people are on a hunt for Christian blood. An angry mob zeroes in on a godly man by the name of Stephen, drags him out of the city, and begins to stone him. They lay their coats in front of a young man called Saul of Tarsus, who fully consented to Stephen's death and later admitted, "And when the blood of your martyr Stephen was shed, I stood there giving my approval and guarding the clothes of those who were killing him." This story alone is shocking enough, but this was not the only time Saul got his hands dirty. Saul was born into a strict Jewish family and spent his youth studying under the famous rabbi Gamaliel, the man who trained him as a Pharisee. These are the same Pharisees whom Jesus referred to as vipers and sons of the devil. Saul's zeal for the law led him to become an inquisitor of the Jerusalem temple's priesthood. Saul was a bloodhound and admitted to mercilessly chasing and killing many Christians. According to the book of Acts, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples when he had a transformative experience on the road to Damascus, a vision of the resurrected Jesus. It was that experience which allegedly changed everything. Saul became Paul and declared himself a freshly converted apostle of Christ. But there is a problem with this story. Paul can't quite get the details straight. It is considered a red flag when a person can't keep their story straight. When detectives work to solve a crime, they test witnesses on the consistency of their accounts. If the story keeps changing, suspicions arise. You might assume that a vision of Jesus would be memorable enough to stick in someone's memory, but the so-called Apostle Paul tells 3 different versions of his apparition on the road to Damascus, recorded in the book of Acts. In Acts chapter 9, verse 7, we find one account where Paul claims that his travel companions did not see Jesus, but heard his voice. And in Acts chapter 22, verse 9, we find another version of the story. They saw the light, but they did not understand the voice of him who was speaking to me. In one version, Paul is blinded for 3 days. In another, he makes no mention of such a thing. We are left wondering, which version should we believe? But perhaps a more important question to ask is, why does this all matter? It matters because the entire validity of Paul as a messenger hinges on this story. This is the single proof he used to convince people to take him seriously as a messenger from God. Having never met Jesus in the flesh, this is all he has to go on. And it just so happens that it cannot be verified by anybody. There is no mention of Paul in the Gospels by Jesus or anyone else for that matter. Nobody gives Paul the title of apostle other than Paul himself. So we have to ask these questions. Was Paul a man who saw the error in his ways and turned his life around? Or did he carry out his original agenda, utilizing a different strategy, destroying the Christian faith from within? In any case, one thing is certain. Paul's claim to apostleship directly contradicts what Jesus taught. Throughout his ministry, Jesus had many disciples. At one point, he amassed followers in the thousands. But there was always an inner circle of 12 men, handpicked by Jesus. That number, 12, was no accident. There was a specific purpose behind it. Talking about his second coming, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, at the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." These words demonstrate just how important the sacred number 12 is. How could 11 or 13 apostles judge 12 tribes? The disciples themselves understood the significance of this number. After Jesus left them, the remaining 11 apostles set out to replace the fallen one from among them, Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus. Praying for divine guidance, the men drew lots, and in the end, they reported that God chose Matthias to be the 12th disciple. There was one important criteria for the selection. Therefore, it is necessary to choose one of the men who have been with us the whole time the Lord Jesus was living among us, beginning from John's baptism to the time when Jesus was taken up from us. So imagine the confusion of the 12 disciples when, years later, Paul came along and inserted himself into the equation as the 13th disciple. Paul, a man who never met Jesus, certainly didn't qualify to be one of them. But that didn't stop Paul from making some dramatic changes to the religion of Jesus. And the early Christians did not consider Paul to be an authority in the same right as the 12. One of the most notable new concepts which Paul brought to Christianity was the abolishment of the Old Testament law. Claiming to speak on behalf of Christ, Paul said, "For sin shall no longer be your master, because you are not under the law, but under grace."
Very excited about today's show and our very special guest. Robert Eisenman is a scholar, novelist, essayist, author of the New Testament Code, The Cup of the Lord, The Damascus Covenant, and The Blood of Christ. In 2006, he wrote that. His magnum opus, many say, is James, the Brother of Jesus, The Key to Unlocking the Secrets of Early Christianity in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That was in 1998. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the First Christians, 1996. Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to delay. I want to show that one. Can everybody see this book?
That's not the Penguin copy you got there. That's the English copy.
Well, this English copy, along with the index, is some 1,073 pages.
Yeah.
So
the
it's
The Penguin one is still in print in the United States. I don't know about that one. I can't say.
Well, wonderful. I tell you, as we say in the business, it's a chunk of change. Also, you did Islamic Law in Palestine and Israel, a history of the survival of Tanzimat and Sharia, and co-editor of the facsimile edition of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1989 and the Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered in 1992. He is professor of Middle East religions and archaeology and Islamic law and the director of the Institute for the Study of Judeo-Christian Origins at California State University, Long Beach, and visiting senior member of Linacre College in Oxford. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Cornell University in philosophy and engineering physics, a Master of Arts degree from New York University in Near Eastern Studies, and a doctorate in philosophy from Columbia University, a doctorate of philosophy in Middle East languages and cultures and Islamic law.
You got it, right.
He was a senior fellow at the Oxford Center for Postgraduate Hebrew Studies. And listen to this, this is important. An American Endowment for the Humanities Fellow in Residence at the Albright Institute of Archaeological Research in Jerusalem. And that's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were first examined. Now, in the early 1990s, Professor Eisenman was the consultant to the Huntington Library in San Marino, California, on its decision to open its archives and allow free access for all scholars to the previously unpublished scrolls. And that's very important to understand the spirit of his work. In 2002, he was the first to publicly announce that the so-called James ossuary, which was so suddenly and miraculously appearing on the scene, was fraudulent. And he did it the same day that it was made public on the basis of his astute analysis. On his website, you can find his books, articles, reviews, interview, and opinion pieces, links, photographs.
and RobertHEisenman.com.
And I think one of those is a bit more user-friendly, if I may say so.
The second one.
Very good. All right. And his material on YouTube covers the full range of his interests and activities. This is important to know. In presenting his research, Professor Eisenman has sometimes been attacked. He's been threatened. He's been sued. He's had to leave the podium under possible threat to his person. And so this is sensitive information. It does rile some people up. He's passionate about it. We hope you'll be passionate about it too. And that's why it's so special to have him with us tonight. So welcome, Professor Eisenman. How are you this evening?
Trying to survive.
All right. Well, let's get right down to business. Tell us how learning about James, the brother of the Lord, can shed some light on our understanding of Jesus. I call that the Eisenman thesis. So tell us a little bit about that connection.
James is referred to in Paul's letters, and he's also appears at the end of the book of Acts, so the last third of the book of Acts. But you see, they have a James in the Gospels that people confuse him with. They, the brother of John, the son of Zebedee, and so on and so forth. I don't think the gospel portrait is or are reliable, and those are more in the nature of literature, whereas Paul's letters are actual events that occur. And this, when he's angry at James, he says so. He says in Galatians, I think it's 2nd chapter, he mentions him, and it's not Zebedee that he's talking about. He said, not that his importance means anything to me. So, I mean, he makes it so that's, I would consider to be a negative comment. Absolutely. The reason he's referring to his importance is James is the leader of the early church. But you see, we'd only know that if we go to the church fathers. You don't have a picture of that either in the Gospels. Later in the book of Acts, from chapter 16 on, where the we document intervenes in the narrative. I say we document. The early part of Acts is like the Gospels: he, they, she, etc. Third person, singular and plural. But around 16, you have a different document: I, we. And that looks like it's from an actual travel diario, probably from Luke or someone like Luke. And that one has James, the brother of Jesus. So, and Paul speaks in 1 Galatians, James, the brother of the Lord. So he knows that this James exists, even if he doesn't like him or if he's at odds with him. Well, the point is that this second part of the book of Acts really enlightens us who this James is. And he's the leader of the early church. Peter is not the leader of the early church. All of this is mythological from the literary presentation of the Gospels. So if you want to go to a really true picture, go to the we document in Acts. And I don't like to compliment Acts, but the we document is a very convincing presentation. Like in chapter 21, Paul goes up to Jerusalem, and who is he going to see? James, the brother of the Lord. He's not come up. The others may have died or supposedly disappeared or whatever. One supposedly went to Spain. I mean, all that is I would say unreliable, to be kind. But James, they're not in Jerusalem. They're not leading the church. And also this James has a sobriquet. He's always called the righteous one, James the righteous. And that's a special title. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the righteous teacher, the teacher of righteousness, every time he's referred to in a text, which is what I build my presentation on, the word they're interpreting and explaining is the tzaddik, the righteous one. Tzaddik in Kabbalah and the Hasidim is the righteous one, and he's always the leader in those presentations. And in the scrolls, the tzaddik leads the community, and James is the leader of the early church for the second part of the book of Acts. And as far as Paul is concerned, because he knows that he's getting his instructions from James and he doesn't like it.
Professor Eisenman, something interesting about James, and there's a dichotomy between James and Paul. Now, we've heard you say that, obviously Paul's not teaching the same things as James. Is pretty apparently clear. Right. So if you could you touch on that a little bit? And then also, I wanted to give you something in mind on that. There are some people who say that Paul and all the New Testament is preaching to only Israelites, that the Gentiles are actually secret diaspora Israelites. Can you give some insight?
Well, shall we say that the only real audience Paul and his associates would have had would have been Gentiles. So if you want to call them Jews, go ahead. But Jews obviously rejected the Pauline approach. They didn't really follow the Jamesian approach. They didn't follow the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls were, put into the caves, and the movement's followers or members or whatever you want to call it were clearly, I think, mostly, if not all, killed. A few managed to escape the Romans, because I think all these people, you see, participated in the uprising against Rome. That's what's so important. The uprising against Rome occurred in 66 to 70 AD or CE, and the temple was destroyed at that time. And I really have an interesting point about that, because in my works, I always speak about people asking about the Copper Scroll. And recently I saw a presentation of the Copper Scroll on, I think it was Spy TV, and they were saying, the scholars talking about the Copper Scroll is a work in copper found among the Qumran caves, and it's a treasure list of hiding places and quite huge amounts of treasure. So they all say, well, what happened to this treasure? Where did it all go? And it's quite clear, and I've made that clear in my books long before this program I saw, that this is the temple treasure. And why is it the temple treasure? The Essenes or the revolutionaries didn't have huge amounts of gold. How come it's the temple treasure? Because during the uprising, the opposition zealot type movements had control of the Temple Mount. And therefore they would have been able, they knew the Romans were going to take the temple, so they would have been able to try to hide the temple treasure. Those amounts are the temple treasure. I said this in my books. And I said, but I don't think they did. And so these people are saying, well, what happened? What happened? I mean, look at these hiding places. Well, the Romans were very good at torture, extremely good at torture. And don't you think if there was any gold or treasure out there anywhere, they would find it? And if they couldn't find it, they would torture you in every way until you came up with it. They were not people who were very sympathetic to people keeping secrets or anything. And you wouldn't be, short of committing suicide, you wouldn't be able not to disclose it. So I said in my book, oh, sure, they can't find anything because the Romans got it all. They got it all. But even more than that, I say in my book that Titus and Vespasian, the Roman generals who came to Palestine in the late 60s and put down the uprising, that they then went back to Rome and built the Colosseum. And I say in my book, well, that's the money, the treasure. Where did they get the substance to build this huge, this huge stadium of death? And it's just the opposite, of course, of the temple treasure. So in this TV program I was watching on the Copper Scroll, they were all discussing it, and they were asking these kinds of questions. At the very end of this, they actually show that they recently found in Rome, low down on the Colosseum, a hidden kind of inscription that they had to pare away, a small inscription from that period, not a later period, that said, this structure was built by Titus and Vespasian from the proceeds of their war in Judea. And that's exactly what I said in my books before they even found this inscription. And I have no doubt that that is the truth. The temple treasure went into building the Roman Colosseum. And when I went in the Colosseum, I wouldn't go in it for that reason. Wow. Because it's a blood sport, pagan, horrific monstrosity in terms of not the beautiful, the architecture, no, what took place there.
Agreed. Luther, you're muted, brother.
It's a symbol of anti-Semitism, but anti-Semitism really pervades the New Testament scriptures as we know it. How did that happen, Professor Eisenman?
Well, now, the Colosseum isn't a symbol of anti-Semitism because they were killing all kinds of prisoners there, in gladiatorial.
Jehovah is as near this day as in the time of the ancients. Put yourself in order, becoming one with him. And no book is so easily read as his created universe. Inspiration comes less by books than by what Jehovah wrote. His worlds read him and his works. Frame your speech and your thoughts for him. He will answer you in your own behavior and in the happiness of your soul. Great wisdom cannot be attained in a day, nor purity and strength to overcome temptation, till the growth is from the foundation. The fool will say, the sacred books are no more than man of his own knowledge could write. Yet he has not wisely imitated the power of the words of your God. Let him do this well, and behold, he will also declare my words are from me. Yes, he will recognize them wherever found. It is the will and wish of your God that all men become constitutionally capable of receiving and comprehending the highest life, and that they shall no longer depend upon any priest, church, oracle, holy book, or upon consulting the spirits, and that their behavior may make the earth a place of peace, with long life to all people, for the glory of Jehovah. To his Etherian gods and goddesses, Jehovah said, as you have founded arcs of light in my Etherian heavens, to determine the travel of my corporeal worlds, so shall my God of the earth inspire mortals to build lighthouses for man's ships that travel on the oceans, and those who travel in the ships. And those on the land shall know when a ship nears the port, even as you see my traveling earth approaching the place of Cosmic. For this shall be an illustration to mortals, that I have appointed cycles of times and dawns of times, with gods and goddesses to superintend my creations in tenderness and love, lest by chance man becomes despondent, saying, alas, Jehovah did not provide in wisdom commensurate with the magnificence of his creations. Behold, the time draws near when the nations of the earth shall course around the whole earth in ships, crossing the seas and oceans to all the places I created.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. All praises to the Almighty Creator, that always was, is, and never shall be. The mighty and great Spirit, the mighty and great I Am, whose magnitude is incomprehensible and whose presence is everywhere. It's your little brother Malaki Macabee, open chop session. A random hot topic. Y'all know the YouTube streets is on fire right now. Man. Netted and got into it with the mighty Hebrew over whether Israelites are Africans or not, or converts, or your Genesis boys and came on out and said, Paul teach idolatry, then jumped out there last night and said white folk can be saved and got the whole Israelite community in shambles. I'm like, oh, what's really going on around here? There's a lot going on, you know, did it? And then this man got on there and revealed some proclivities you boys like. Man, hey, I'm telling you, look, it's a good day to be a solid individual, man. You dig? Because once you start cutting people's doctrines and gods, they want to get personal. But hell, if they ain't got nothing personal they really can say about you, I mean, hey, that's because you stay solid the whole time. Even when the world against you, you stay down. You stay solid. You stand on what it is. Huh? That way, when you got to cut somebody based off some type of understanding or bring some information out, they don't, move the goalposts and try to bring up some proclivities. Or how you say it? Proclivities. Yeah, some stuff going on, boy. Your boy Gorilla Hebrew done jumped out there and revealed something about your boy Deacon from Genesis, and which make him look even more suspect, because if you knew the whole time that he liked these proclivities, then what the hell he been doing standing next to you, spreading what you call this truth, putting in this work? Yeah. Don't look too good for all those proclivities. Them boys revealing all type of badness. But yeah, it's a lot of heat in these YouTube streets right now. And really, as you credit, gang, brothers and sisters, this y'all fault. You know what I mean? The light seeds that were planted years ago are starting to, fruition. And men are starting to examine and become more critical, you know what I mean, of the text and their thoughts and minds and beliefs and what it is they standing on, man. You know what I mean? So yeah. So the conscious community is in shambles right now. Well, in particular, the Israelite community. Men are just so, like, oh, they teach white folk can get salvation, and y'all ready to hissy fit. So what? Like, what do we do? Oh, they teach the Filipinos can get salvation. Oh, they teach that the Africans can. And y'all ready to hold a whole council and kick these niggas, ready to kick these brothers. I'm talking about execute these brothers. Come on, man. Ah, yeah. I heard that. Yeah. Street soccer or something like that. Yeah. He said he outside. He said he outside. Jamil, what's the word, sis? How you be? How you be? How art thou? Nothing but love and light. I want to look at something real quick. I mean, really ain't no topic for real. Paul been being brought up lately. It seems like around this time every year, Paul gets a blasting. Paul been getting a blasting for like the past, I want to say 4 or 5 years, around this time of year, around the dark seasons. You know what I mean? Paul started getting his back whipped again. It's a lot going on. Man. He said, thou art well. Well, so one of the topics that the brothers be bringing out is the meats offered to idols, right? So let's get an understanding on that. Because, and shout out to the brothers. I mean, they was able to, see thinly into the topic at hand. You know what I mean? But it's going into the dietary law. You know what I mean? Which a lot of y'all believe is you can eat cheeseburgers and lamb and goat, and you know what I mean? And it's deeper than that. It's a deeper what you would call discipline or a diet that's going on here. All right. Right here. Vain. You know what? Before I even go there, let me go here first so we can go ahead and establish. who it is that's talking. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna navigate through. We're gonna be all over the place. They're gonna navigate through Bible and texts. We swim over there too. You know what I mean? Right there. Dang. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. Yeah, right before Jeeves' birthday, it be going on, man. It's all around this time of the year. Paul be getting a long stomping. Paul be getting a long stomping, boy. Here we go. Here. Let's share this. So look, we're about to go to the book of Galatians. Let's establish a few things real quick. They've been on your boy Paul, boy. It's like, okay, y'all still swimming in the shallow with your floaties on. Okay. We'll come on over there too. You know, we swim over there too. We'll come over there. And y'all see the screen now? If I can be heard and be seen and the screen can be seen, man, y'all dropping 3,000 in the chat for the Arc Cycle Cosma, man. Let's good. That's good. I'll drop that while I get on one of my little vices. Your boy got proclivities. That's crazy, man. That boy Gorilla Hebrew. That nigga did a video about his boys and them teaching that white folk can be saved. So he did a response video like I knew this was coming. All right. And then somebody got in the chat and was like, but you was getting butt plugged, some crazy, madness that he hadn't been had going on since like March or something. He flipped and was like, no, it's the deacon that got these fetishes and lust. I got $10,000. That boy like his booty played with. I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Come on, man. You dig? So it done turned into that. Y'all catching evil, but I'm saying, if it's been that, if somebody been playing with your boy rectum, talking about his women or not, whatever, and you got such a problem with it, why was he able to stand next to you this whole time? See? It always pays to be solid, man. And now look, you done revealed to this man you like your rectum played with by your women's, and now y'all done fell out and he telling the whole world this. Huh? But some of us fall out with the ones we was cool with, been solid with, you dig, and don't nothing come out. Everything that come out be personal, weak. It don't be these proclivities. Let's establish this real quick. Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, what was you saying? My bad. You had to get rid of one. I'm down on my Frodies, boy. You need to get you on them deal, boy. Yeah, for what you were saying. Oh, yeah, for this something. Malaki, you started it with Paul. I know. Put your boy to Zoyak in a blender over the whole topic. We're gonna go over some of that document today too. But let's get some established real quick. Since the nation is talking about Paul and meets off with the idols. I really don't, I really ain't into the whole, the other nations can be saved. Okay, what? Okay, and what? They wouldn't be able to teach it had it not been a concept of it in the Bible. The Israelites who don't believe the nations can be saved wouldn't be able to teach it if it wasn't a concept in the Bible. What I'm saying is you're arguing over something and wasting your time because every topic says something different. Every topic got scriptures on both sides of the aisle. So here you go, because a brother decided to lean this way instead of the way you leaning. Now the brothers are heretics, and now y'all coming out with their proclivities. It ain't real. Like, if what they were seeing was off, y'all should be ready to sit down and do a peer review, have a dialogue, or hell, even a debate over the matter in front of everybody. Do it the old school way, in front of everybody. Yeah, set it off in front of everybody. How about that? No, y'all want to make videos, and that's supposed to be your right-hand man. Up until like 10 months ago, and here you over here revealing his proclivities. Come on, man. That's weak. That's weak. Even the boy that revealed what was going on with your boy Gorilla Hebrew, that was weak. Nigga, y'all should have pulled that man aside and said, hey, look what's on the wire about you. And she mad at you. You know what I mean? Hey, look, go ahead and just, get yourself together real quick. We're gonna hold it down. You know what I mean? right? After all this business that go on in him and his woman bed, I mean, it's some weird shit, but hey, that's what they got going on. Y'all straight snake, like y'all, this organization snaked each other the whole way. And they still doing it. They just revealing all types of weird, like niggas, you wouldn't even ever stand next to me revealing that type of madness. What the hell wrong with you? All right, so look, later for the, you know, the stuff that really don't matter. But since we talking about meats offered to idols and Paul, and well, I mean, it's always a good time to go ahead and refresh a few things. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. Let's get into handling the creator's business. How about that? Let's be critical of what we read and let's examine it. For y'all don't know Galatians or Galatians is a letter supposedly written by your boy Saul of Tarsus, Paul. Now, if you look at this verse 19 right here, this verse 19, it say, but other of the apostles saw I none save who? James, the Lord's brother. And of course, the Lord, he ain't saying the Almighty. He has to be talking about none other than Yahshua, who the world called Jesus. Yes, he had a family. One of his biological brothers was a man named James. And according to Paul, he's not only just his brother, he's an apostle also. Right? If y'all see that even off Paul's own lips, off his own mouth, he admits that James is not only the Messiah's brother, he's also an apostle. If y'all see that, drop a 7,000 in the chat. Drop a 7,000 in the chat. Easy money. You know what I mean? I know, King, this new YouTube is crazy, ain't it? It's a lot of different algorithms they got going on. It's like, hold on, I'm trying to set my stuff up early, and they had a vertical integration over here with a different screen and StreamYard and went to Mars, and I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell going on with all this. But drop that 7,000 in the chat, even off Paul's own lips. It dig, and on the real, it's been time for a conversation amongst, if you're talking about the Israelite nation. Like, y'all late, to be honest with you, Hassad and Deacon Hakar and whoever, and the Divine Prospect, niggas is late. Y'all late, right? It's been time to have a convo. We've been put the Nazarene editions out, over 110 editions, over 440 hours of teaching on the matter. Y'all late. Y'all like 4-5 years late. But nevertheless, y'all getting there. It's been time to have a conversation. It's been time to have a conversation. You dig? Y'all getting there. You still off a little taste, though, because you ain't stepped all the way there and just, you know what I mean? You already know if you're going to play it, if you're going to come on out in the field, you got to play it like you play the wheel, boy. You better, you know what I mean? You got to play it like you play the wheel. You got to punch that gas. You got to be about this. You can't soft shoot. You can't be 1 foot this way, 1 foot that way. It's either all or nothing. You know what I mean? So you're getting there. But at least, look, even Paul himself admits what? James is an apostle and he's the Messiah's brother. Y'all see this? Okay, let's keep going. Let's dive a little deeper into what you call the text. See, we swim in Bible too. It's easy. What you talking about? Millie Mouth Nick Rose should be mad for no reason. Hissy fit. The problem is you thought you had a monopoly on what's called truth. No man authored truth. Truth is authored by the Almighty, the Creator, the God maker, the maker of every God you never prayed to in your prayer breath. Every God you uttered off your lips is a mere creation of the Almighty. Easy money. Easy money. Let me show you like how real this gets. Matthew chapter 13. What you think it's a game? What you think we playing? You think we playing, don't you? Matthew 13:55. It's not this. Hold on. Let's go. We can start up here. And it came to pass that when Yahshua had finished these parables, he departed from thence. And when he was coming to his own country, he taught them in their synagogue. in so much that they were astonished and said, whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Where are you getting all this from? 55. Is not this the carpenter's son? Speaking of Joseph, is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And his brethren, who? Who? James. James or Jacob, Jacob, Joseph or Joseph, Yosef, Simon or Shimon, and Judas, Yahudah, Judah. And he got sisters, and his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then had this man all these things? So we got two witnesses, even off Paul's lips. He admits that James is an apostle and that he's a brother of who you calling the Lord, Messiah, Yahshua. You see that? It's like 5 brothers and 2 sisters. Hold on, let's go to Mark. Mark said the same thing. What are we talking about? Let's establish a few things before we get to moving about a little taste. Look at this right here. What are you talking about? Running your mouth. That's all you're doing. Matthew 6 and 3. Matthew 6 and 3. Little taste. Look at this. Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph and of Judah and Simon? And are not his sisters are with us? And they were offended at him. Yahshua had a whole family out here. Family. You dig? And amongst them, James. Right? You see that, right? All right, now let's go on to Acts then, because eventually Paul has to come up to Jerusalem to check in with none other than James. He said it in Galatians, didn't he? I know what he said? And the topic that came up was about meat offered to idols and circumcision. You were the topics. James's judgment. Acts 15 and 13. After they had held their peace, James answered, saying, men and brethren, hearken unto me. Listen unto me. He's the chief apostle that's presiding over this Jerusalem assembly. It's thousands of them there. Then he goes into when Peter went to see Cornelius. I'm going to get down here. This is what he's telling. This is what he's telling Paul and them, because Paul and Barnabas and them is in front of all them. Now he say, listen unto me. And here's his sentence, his judgment, because he's the chief apostle. You see that? Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God. Man, you ain't got to put circumcision right on them. They don't have to get it right now. Just let them come on in. But look at the discipline they got to, right? Don't trouble them. I mean, they don't have to get circumcised to start their walk in this messianic movement. Eventually they will, but don't trouble them with that. But this is what you put on them. But that we write unto them, this is what James is telling Paul, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. 3 of those things got to do with food. Pollutions of idols is meats offered to idols. Things strangled is an animal that died, roadkill, and from blood, the blood of an animal. Right? But if you don't know what meats offered to idols is, according to the Torah, remember, nobody in the New Testament read the New Testament. The New Testament wasn't even around then. These are discussions based off what's already established, and that would be what you call the Old Testament today. Right? Under its various forms. It's not just one. The one you got today, Moses didn't write. That's a whole nother topic. But we got those presentations on deck too. But notice the discipline they get put on the Gentile believers who are going to join this messianic movement. They got to abstain. They got to abstain from pollutions of idols. That means the meats offered to them, the feast days offered to them, anything, the sacrifices, all that. You got to stop that. This ain't about you continuing to tiptoe through the tulips of the fields of Dionysus. No, this ain't about that. Right? So notice, abstain from pollutions of idols and from fornication, all types of crazy sexual debauchery, ordering pegging kits and whatnot, right? And from things strangled, and from blood. Ooh-wee. Watch this. Look at this. I'm jump down 22. It says, and it pleased the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their company to Antioch with who? Paul and Barnabas. See, so after these are after the order get put down, then guess what they get? They get letters of accommodation, letters of recommendation, letters like, hey, look, they with us in Jerusalem. You dig? And this is what they're gonna be teaching. Look, 23, and wrote letters by them after this manner. The apostles and elders and brethren send greeting unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia. Now look at this. So they were given a specific regiment. Even though you ain't got to get circumcised to join the movement. Eventually you will though, but you ain't got to get circumcised to join. But this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do, right? And so write unto them that they do this, and then James tell Paul this, that you, not only do you teach them to abstain from pollutions of idols, you do it too. You do it too. And this is who we call the Messiah's biological brother, the chief apostle. He's the chief apostle he's running the entire movement. So then he tell Paul that you abstain from meats offered to idols and from blood and from things strangled. So what you teach, you got to stand on that too. It ain't well, that's what he was telling them. That was for them. That was for them and him. It's the same discipline. Because the apostles in Jerusalem don't eat meat offered to idols either. They abstain from meats offered to idols. They abstain from fornication. They abstain from things strangled and from blood. They abstain from that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that Paul was just giving specifics. I heard a brother say that not that long ago. That was just instructions for them. You dig? And it's like, so what you saying? Like, so you can go eat meat off of the idols, but they can't? Now it's the same discipline. You want to join this movement, this is how we get down. So then James tell Paul the same thing, that you abstain from meats off of the idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if you keep yourselves, you shall do well. We got to find out what that is. Or like, what is meats, offered to idols? Like, what is all that about? You know what I mean? So we eventually going to get there. We're going to go into the actual Torah. I heard another cat say that not that long ago. What does it say? Thou shalt not eat meat off of the idols. Like, what? Boy, look, if you don't go sit down somewhere, and you supposed to be some type of camp leader, boy, if you don't go sit down, what does it say? Oh my boy, look, we're not about to start playing those games. Where does it say thou shalt not eat meat offered to idols? Did you just have the unmitigated gall to even twist your negroidal mouth and say that? You know why? Boy, you got a lust to eat that shit. That's what it is. That's what that is, boy. Boy, it tastes like shit. That's crazy. So the very thing that the Gentiles were commanded to abstain from, Paul was even told to abstain from James, or James the Just, Yaakov Hazedek, James the Righteous, the biological brother of Yahshua. You dig? So if you understand that what he was supposed to, if you understand Paul was supposed to practice what he preached, to abstain from meats offered to idols. You dig? Oh, wait. Y'all drop a 4,000 in the chat. Let's cook. Let's cook. Let's go here. Let's go here. We already on deck. I don't know what nobody thought. We already on deck over here. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. How does Saul feel about the Nazarene apostles' dietary law? Dang, son. Dang, son. It get real ugly. Yeah, that's crazy. You keep saying these folks had the gall to say they accept the whole Bible, all scriptures is the word of God. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. No, you don't. No one does. Everybody reads the Bible and they pick and choose. Everybody. The Bible is not uniform when it comes to every topic. Every topic has scriptures on both sides of the aisle. Yeah. Yeah. So brothers wouldn't be able to see what they were saying unless it had been in the Bible. I wouldn't be able to talk with none of this unless it had been in the Bible. We in the Bible. We in the Bible. We in the Bible. Galatians 1:19. James is an apostle and the Lord's brother. Matthew 13:55. He got brothers and sisters. One of his brothers' name is James. Mark 6:3. He got brothers and sisters. One of his brothers' name is James. Acts 15:13. James is the one that's the chief apostle over the Jerusalem council that Paul had to go see. And he was given a specific doctrine from James to teach the Gentiles, and he was supposed to practice exactly what he was preaching them. See that? I see 4,000. I see 4,000. Let's get into this. How did he feel about what he was commanded to teach? They already got the movement going on down here in Jerusalem. They already got it cracking. They already got a system in order running. So how does Saul feel about the Nazarene apostles' dietary law? Amplified Bible. Yeah, we cross compare a lot. I mean, we ain't scared of none of them, right? Amplified Bible, 1 Corinthians 10:25, regarding meats offered to idols, eat anything that is sold in the meat market without asking any questions for the sake of your conscience. Y'all heard that? 1 Corinthians 10:25, Saul of Tarsus. So that's the complete opposite of what he was told. You see? It ain't hard to peep. All you gotta do is just pay attention. What was he commanded to live by? What was he commanded to teach and live by? Abstain from pollutions of idols or meats offered to idols, fornication, things strangled, and blood. Keep yourselves within that, you'll do well. You'll do well in this walk, right? Paul gets out there and start teaching. Does he teach to abstain from meats offered to idols? Or does he come with a twist on it? Eat anything sold in the meat market is not abstaining from meats offered to idols. Think about it. At best, say you up in the grocery store or whatever, and say, you know what I mean, the temple then sold the grocery store, the meat markets, their leftover or their scraps of meat that was sacrificed to Dionysus. Aphrodite. And here you go coming up in there telling me you finna barbecue with the fellas. You about to do your thing. You buy 5 pounds of chicken wings. You see? Hold on. So surely in Gentile, my point is this: surely in Gentile meat markets, there are meats, there is flesh that has been offered to idols, flesh that has been sacrificed to idols, more likely than not. Huh? Okay, so what you mean eat anything that's sold in the meat markets without asking questions? Why would they be asking questions? Because the mandate already went out. We to abstain from meats offered to idols. So they got questions. Well, what is that? What is the meats offered to idols? You see, Paul did not teach what he was told to teach. Paul said you can eat anything that's sold at the meat market. Hold on. You mean to tell me there's no meats offered to idols in the shambles or the meat markets at all? Is that what you're saying? No, you're not saying that. What you're saying is you don't agree with what you've been told. You don't agree with that. You dig? Because you would have came right out the gate and been like, abstain from meats offered to idols. You dig? You can't just go up into the meat market or the grocery store or in St. Louis, Sioux Lord Meat Market. Huh? Sioux Lord Meat Market and just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Let me get some of that gator meat over there. Or let me get some lamb. Niggas go get lamb from down there. Surely there's meat offered to idols in there. So what you mean you can just go to the store and eat whatever the hell you're talking about? Oh, only the lawful meat, brother. What that mean? It's the same thing. He was told to teach them to abstain from meats offered to idols and that he abstained from it. What does he say? Eat anything that is sold in the meat market. Without asking any questions for the sake of your conscience. Wow. Acts 15 and 13. And verse 29. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, men and brethren, hearken unto me. Verse 29. That you abstain from meats offered to idols. James commands Saul to follow the same orders that he is supposed to teach the Gentiles. There it is. What is we even talking about here? How does Saul respond to the doctrine he has been commanded to preach and live by? 1 Corinthians 10, 23 and 25. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. That's not true. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. By Saul claiming all things are lawful for him, he is saying he is free from James's commands given to him in Jerusalem. Meaning all things are lawful from you, not the meats offered to idols. What do you mean all things are lawful for you, but all things are not expedient? No, all things are not lawful. All throughout the scriptures, you're supposed to put a difference between what's lawful and what's profane. What are you talking about? All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. That's not true. All things are not lawful. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. That's not true. 25. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles, which is the meat markets, that eat, asking no questions for conscience sake. Remember, all things are lawful for him. He's talking about food that you go get at the meat market or the store. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles, they eat, asking no questions for conscience sake. Saul boldly tells the assembly in Corinth that they are free to eat whatever they desire. I'm not making this up. Now, we can argue all day over what you think he might be saying. He do a lot of double talking. Lots of it. Lots of it. It's the reason James said a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I'm talking about Paul. This nigga is all over the place, man. Look at this. It is. Good News Translation. 1 Corinthians 10 and 25. You are free to eat anything sold in the meat market. You are free to eat anything sold in the meat market. What do you mean you are free? You have liberty to eat whatever you want? That don't even make sense. Everybody know that. Everybody know that. You know you can't eat certain things without you going into some type of hissy fit or spell, or your body going into some type of chemical reaction. You can't just eat whatever you want. Stop it. Stop it. Even if you're going to hold to the point to say, well, he's talking about all the lawful meats. Stop it. Some of you can't eat too much lamb, and you know why you can't. You know why you can't? Huh? So no, you are not free to eat anything in the meat market, especially 2,000 years ago. Majority of that meat has been sacrificed to a damn devil, or an idol, or a false god. The hell are we talking about? You are free to eat anything sold in the meat market without asking any questions because of your conscience. Good News Translation. Saul of Tarsus, 1 Corinthians 10 and 25, that you abstain from meats offered to idols. Not that you're free to eat anything sold in the meat market, but that you abstain from meats offered to idols. James the Just, brother of Jesus or Yeshua. Acts 15:29. It is clear what Saul of Tarsus feels about the Nazarene dietary law. How does a true apostle such as Kepha or Peter feel about the food restrictions? Let's get into the Nazarene Gospels. Or the Clementine homilies. It's, basically the same thing. Look at the golden rule, man. Supposed to be some lost writings of Peter, Kepha. I mean, just like with anything, man. Read it. If it resonates with you, trip off of it. If it don't, move it out the way. You know what I mean? It's easy work. You dig? So I see these boys starting to pop out and, put a distinction between the meats offered to idols. They trying. They just ain't got all the way there yet. You dig? But Paul is definitely on trial right now. Every time around this year, the dark part of the year, Paul be getting his ass whooped in the spirit world, boy. I try to tell you, they be going down. You dig? But the entire YouTube streets is in shambles right now. It's on fire. You know what I mean? Men then flipped on each other, revealing all their proclivities. The Genesis boys that came out and talked about how Paul teaches idolatry and how good old white folk, Huckleberry Finn, can be saved. I said, oh, okay. Of course, every Israelite didn't get no sleep last night. They done lost their mind, and all these niggas is Christians. And Sinetta done got into it with the mighty Hebrew, not the gorilla Hebrew, the mighty Hebrew. He done got into it with them niggas. Nigga, you're lying. You're a liar. You're scared. He's like, yo, stop, man. I'm over here with my elder. Rofenu, Bond, whatever he was talking about. Yehodia. And he was inside, was like, well, put his ass on the line so he can answer some questions. That boy by the Hebrew was like, hold on, man. It's one of our elders, man. You can't just talk to the elder like that, man. He said, nah, you running, you scared. You won't answer no questions. Are y'all Africans, brother? I say, dang, it's going down in these YouTube streets. What? Dang. They try to put your boy Tazoryak on the hot seat. He realized he was up Schitt's Creek or Dunn's Creek without a paddle. So he just turned into he turned into like a little thug real quick and just started talking crazy to everybody. Okay, nigga, bye. You ain't trying to catch no fade. Get up off the panel. You know what I mean? The African dude, say cool, was trying to battle him. He ducked all that. It's been going on. It's been a real interesting. I'm hearing more creative than anything now. I'm hearing a lot more people getting health conscious, you dig, and being more critical with these spiritual texts that they dealing with, man. Being more critical. All right. So let's see, where the understanding at about the meats offered to idols, because that's what when the Genesis boys came out and brought the meats offered to idols out, they didn't go all the way there. They just was acknowledging that Paul was going the hell off when he was saying all this. Like, what is you doing in an idolatrous temple anyway? What the hell is really going on? And what you mean I can eat it if the one that's with me is strong in faith? I ain't supposed to eat none of it anyway, right? So then brothers and them was like, would you eat food offered to Satan? Asked the dude that little some camp leader, Negro, that think he's, what they call it? Think he's scholastic. You dig? And this nigga basically said, yeah, because Satan the idol is nothing to me. So I'll eat it. I'll eat it. And it's like, oh my God, bro, you niggas is crazy out here. So look, let's look at some of Peter's lost writings, right? And let's see if he understood what James said about abstaining from pollutions of idols or meats offered to idols. Just say, and were smitten in your body. So now if you repent, as I said, and submit to those things which are well pleasing to God, you may get new strength to your bodies and recover your soul's health. These brothers was on their health game 2,000 years ago. And the things which are well pleasing to God are these: to pray to him, to ask from him, recognizing that he's the giver of all things and gives with discriminating law, to abstain from the table of devils, not to taste dead flesh. There's a reason why them brothers wouldn't eat no meat, no flesh. They wasn't even down with all of the bloody sacrifices and all that, for the most part. You know what I mean? They wasn't even with all that. So the understanding of abstaining from meats off the idols, them brothers weren't eating that flesh. They weren't eating it. Look at this: to abstain from the table of devils, not to taste dead flesh, not to touch blood, to be washed from all pollution. You see? Peter or Keith will go on record and say the things that are well pleasing to God, or who, when they say God, they mean the Almighty. Right? So things well pleasing to him is to abstain from the tables of devils and not to taste dead flesh. What are you chewing on when you chew on your Popeye's chicken sandwich? What are you chewing on when you chew on your lamb shoulders? What are you chewing on when you're chewing on and eating your goat stew? Dead flesh. But Paul say go eat whatever sold at the meat market and stop asking questions. You got liberty in Jesus to eat whatever the hell you want. Go eat a hog ass if you want to. Hell, be accountable. Are there any laws against cannibalism? Really? No. What you think it's a game? What you think we playing? Look at this. You know, man, y'all know the game, boy. We walk you down with it. We don't just be talking. Look, all the presentations is done. I was telling all the bros that, like, look, man, we can go on tour, to be honest with you. It's all done. It ain't enough for us just to hit play and pull a document up. Like, man, look at this. More from the Nazarene Acts or the homilies, right? Now look at this right here. It say, down here, to abstain from tables of devils. Let's say it again. Hold on. What are we talking about? So it say down here, to abstain from the table of devils, that is, from food offered to idols, from dead carcasses or dead flesh, from animals which have been suffocated or caught by wild beasts, and from blood. You see? So they understood there was no tasting of the dead flesh. As anyone can see, Peter, a true apostle, doesn't teach to eat whatever is sold at the meat markets. Peter actually teaches not to eat dead flesh. Chewing on an animal sandwich is one and the same thing as eating at the table of devils. Ooh-wee. Well, let's look at, so Peter may have understood that, Malachi, but what was he eating on the record? Let's see. Page 195, Clementine Homilies or the Nazarene Acts. What we got? However, such a choice has occurred to you, perhaps without you understanding or knowing my manner of life, that I use only bread and olives and rarely pot herbs. Peter say he eat olives, bread, and some vegetables in a pot. This how this man eats. Huh? He ain't eating steak and eggs every morning. Huh? He ain't eating steak and potatoes every evening. That man said bread, olives, and some vegetables. Stop tasting the dead flesh. You ain't pleasing to the Creator. Oh, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. If you understand that Peter's understanding about abstaining from meat offered to idols, and Paul's understanding was different. Huh? Paul said, eat whatever the hell you want. Peter said, don't even eat dead flesh. I only eat bread, olives, and some veggies. If you understand that they both taught and understood abstaining from the meat of idols to be different. Huh? Y'all drop a vortex in the chat, man. This is easy money. Easy money. Don't worry, we're going to go into the Torah and show y'all what it is. All this already written. What do you niggas talking about? It's done already. Let's look at James, the brother Messiah, and how he ate. Source, not seen in post, not seen father, second series. Hey, we be in our bag over here. Okay, we're good. Cal P in the building, the cloud kicker. Y'all go like, subscribe, sure. Cosmon Cal TV. Peace to the gang, man. Create a gang of don't bang. Dang. It's like that. All right, let's get into this right here. Let's get into it. Jerome and Gennadius. Jerome, man. That's your boy responsible for the Latin Vulgate. Huh? I got a bomb for y'all too. The Apostle Peter didn't write the book of 2 Peter. Try again. Because a lot of people, boy, no, but Mally, Peter vouched for Paul. Peter did not write 2 Peter. Look, and this is what 2 Peter says. 2 Peter 3:15-16. An account of the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, as also according to the wisdom given unto him, have written unto you, as also in all his letters, speaking to them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrest or twist, as they do also the other scriptures. Paul's letters are not scriptures, y'all. No, there is epistles, his letters. The scriptures is the Tanakh, the Torah, unto their own destruction. 2 Peter 3:15-16. So there are people say, well, no, Mally. Peter was vouching for Paul. You sure? This is written in 490 AD. You sure about that? Make sure y'all can see that. It's the underlined section on the left side. Matter of fact, let me drop down. So y'all can see this type stuff. What is this right here? Let me blow this up some more. That's probably as big as it's gonna get. But right here, we're talking about Peter, right? This is Jerome in the 4th century of the Common Era. He wrote, speaking of Peter, he wrote 2 epistles, which are called Catholic. Wow. Called Catholic. Catholic supposed to mean universal, but I found that quite ironic that, and you still think the Roman Catholic Church ain't got nothing to do with the New Testament or the Bible at all? That's crazy. He wrote 2 epistles which are called Catholic. The second Peter, on account of its difference from the first in style, is considered by many not to be by him. Yeah. 2 Peter is really the last book of the New Testament. It wasn't written to like the mid 100s. So it couldn't have been written by Peter at all. See that? And even Jerome is saying this 400 years after the fact of the matter. They were saying then that Peter didn't even write 2 Peter. It's considered by many not to be by him. And really, if you look at when it was compiled and written, it was a whole almost 100 years after the man had died. So who wrote it? You know what I mean? What you got to say, Key? Key say, when you are in school, they require you to back your source and prefer you to have more than one source, but they limit themselves in life to what they would read. Yeah, real spill. So yeah, Second Peter wasn't even written by Peter. When you get into it, you'll see. You'll be like, oh, hold on. If this wasn't written to the end, then he couldn't have wrote it. It was written by some type of Paul sympathizer. That's how I usually go. Now this right here is about James. Same book, right? James, who was called the brother of the Lord, surnamed the just. Okay. Now this is Jerome speaking about James. 400 years later, but knows what he say. Hegesippus, who lived near the apostolic age, in the 5th book of his commentaries, writing of James, says, after the apostles, James, the brother of the Lord, surnamed the just, was made head of the church at Jerusalem. Many indeed are called James. This one was holy or consecrated from his mama's womb. You know what I mean? He was a Nazir. That's that type of talk. When you consecrated from your mama's womb, that's that type of talk. You a Nazir. You a Nazarite, boy. Hey, you one of them ones. Huh? This one, James, was holy from his mama's womb. His mama was Mary. Yeah, Mary, Joseph and Mary. This one was holy from his mama's womb. He drank neither wine nor strong drink, ate no flesh, never shaved. That means he was right here looking, boy, you look over at him, boy, and then hurry up and turn your head back the other way. He like one of them, look like one of them Nazi head brothers. Salute the Nazi head man. This brother ain't never drank no wine. No, ain't never had no Douce. He ain't never drank no flesh, and he ain't never shaved. Huh? And this is the leader of the whole Nazarene Messianic movement coming out of Jerusalem, and he got thousands of people at his command. He looked like your modern Rasta brother. Yeah. Never shaved or anointed himself with ointment or bathed. Now, I don't know, so you nigga ain't took no bath, but wash y'all stinking red. But notice, the man that gave Paul the order to abstain from meats offered to idols, right? He don't eat flesh. Never have. Peter, who was at the very council, who received the same orders, he don't eat flesh. Huh? And it's deeper than what you think, man. It's way deeper. And I know y'all brothers is coming along now. You're starting to see that he was teaching idolatry, but that's surface level. Y'all need to come on over in this deep. Come on over in this deep, because it get way deeper. Way deeper. Right now, y'all in the shallow with your floaties on. Yeah, you in the shallow over there with your floaties on. It take for one of us to come over there and say, boy, stand up. You acting like you about to drown. You ain't number 2 feet of water, boy. Stand up. Breathe. Take these damn floaties off. Dang. So if you see James didn't eat no flesh and that Peter didn't eat no flesh, you know what I mean? Y'all go ahead and drop an 8,000 in the chat. And notice he was talking about health in that too. Health. You got to get away from a lot of these tables, man. A lot of these tables mean you no good. Some more sources for you. More sources. Yeah, this one of them documents. We cooked Tazaryak, put Tazaryak in a blender over this. It was too much. He started short circuiting. He couldn't even handle all this. Gospel of the Nazarenes, Nazarites and the Essenes combined. Ooh-wee. Somebody mad. They always get mad. Shout out to Imam Mahaya. What up, Imam? Where Imam Ahuba at? I ain't talked to Imam Ahuba in a minute. How is Mama doing? The little son said, love, light, balance, and all that good stuff in between. You too, Imam Mahaya. My brothers and them behind the walls. We can't wait till they touch down. You feel me? Got a lot of work and pain to put in. We now this may be, well, brother, I don't accept that. It ain't our fault this type of stuff be above y'all pay grade. It's not my problem. You haven't read any of this, or you know what I mean. You dig? But we can always have you look. It's out there for peer review. You know what? We actually sent this out. I think I sent this document out to like over 100 brothers and sisters. This document 3 to 4 years old. I had this before I even cooked Zaryak with. You see? So I'm saying, like, me and the bro, we can go on tour, to be honest with you. We got so many presentations, it's crazy. Right? And a lot of this stuff you've never heard of. Huh? Look at this. I'm glad cats are starting to, you know, come along, get them some understanding. If you're going to come on outside, you got to come outside. Right? Let them drag, boy. They already lining you up. Stop trying to soften the blow. Oh, brother, you know, maybe I did come off like I was trying to bully, brother. Brother, you know, brother, I love you, brother. And oh, brother, those are brothers. There's no war. Nigga, it is war. Hell, you talking about? Them cats wish y'all was dead. Zaryak already said, if you're outside the UPK, when Christ returned, he cutting your fucking head off. Man, and y'all got the unmitigated gall to be mad at the Creator gang about whatever the hell y'all mad about. Tightening your lips and studying and scratching and foaming at the mouth. What did you doing all that for? These niggas already told you that they ops. They already told you they'll kill their children. Zaryak already told you he cutting, his words, your fucking head off. This is what he said. And to you camps, I love y'all. You know, some of the brothers I'm cool with, you know what I mean? Preach down y'all, love y'all, but when Christ returns and you outside the UPK, I'm cutting your fucking head off. And y'all got the nerve to twist your mouth and be mad over this way. Well, let me tell y'all something. You're on a sinking ship. And instead of playing the damn violin while the ship's sinking, we over here telling you, hey, look, not only get off the ship, but look, we got a whole fire ship over here for y'all. Y'all good, come on. And you want to just gnaw on each other and play. No, we're not here for the funnies. We're not here for the funnies. Genesis, if y'all gonna come on outside and press play. Stop playing. Stop soft showing. Let's get into this. Gospel of the Nazarenes is the source right here. You might as well go all out. You stop playing with it. Right here. Now look at this. Miriam and Messiah were both under a Nazarite vow. His mama that was carrying him in the womb, she was under the same type of vow. Right? Now look at this. And then look what the vow is. Verse 7. Therefore, this is chapter 2 of the Gospel of the Nazarenes, verse 7. Therefore, you shall keep your covenant to eat no flesh, nor drink strong drink. For this child shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, consecrated to the Lord, a Nazarite from his mother's womb, and neither flesh nor strong drink shall he take, nor shall a razor touch his head. Miriam had the same covenant of not eating no flesh or strong drink. Why? Because you got someone that's about to be dedicated to the Almighty from the womb, and guess what? He ain't gonna eat flesh. He won't drink strong drink, and a razor will never touch his head. Is the very thing that we just read about James historically. This was a family of Essenes, Nazarites, and Essenes combined of Nazarenes. That's what they were. They live by a whole nother code. They Israelites, but they live by a whole nother code and way of life that was way more disciplined, way more in tune and connection with the Creator's creation. So let me think. Okay, the mama of Messiah had the same type of vow on him. James had the same type of vow on him. John the Baptist had the same type of vow. We read that Messiah even had that same type of vow. So this was a family deal. And notice the men never let razors touch their heads. So who the hell was Paul talking about when he said to have long hair is a shame? Because none of them brothers ever got a haircut, ever in life. So who you talking about? Who, matter of fact, who told you to abstain from meats? Off of the idols. What kind of haircut did he have? What kind of bootsy fade did he have? Didn't have one. Why? Why, Malachi? Because a razor never touched his head. Look at this. Look at this. Chapter 5, the manifestation of Yeshua to the Magi. What you think is a game? What you think we playing? All right, chapter 5, and we'll get on in here. 21. And the Lord said, what? Out of Egypt have I called my son, who shall be called the Nazarene. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came to the land of Israel. And they came and dwelt in a place called Nazareth, where dwelt Nazarites and Essenes. And he was called the Nazarene. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. It also came to pass that in the second year of Yeshua's life, a second son was born to Joseph and Mary. His name was called James. Really? You mean the same one that gave Paul the instructions on to abstain from meats off the idols, teach the Gentiles the same thing? The very one that Paul admits is the brother of Jesus in Matthew 13:55 and Mark 6:3 verifies that James. Well, that James was consecrated from his mama's womb, never ate flesh, and never shaved. Huh? His name was called James, meaning one who is just and righteous before the Lord, one who was of true Israel. So it must be a false one out there. As with Yeshua and who? Yahukanan, John. As with Yeshua and Yahukanan, John the Baptist, he, James, the just, he was consecrated unto the Lord. A who? A Nazarite from his mama's womb, according to the way. The whole family was getting down this type of vibration. They wasn't eating no flesh. They wasn't drinking no wine. They wasn't drinking no strong drink. If you was a man, you'd never even shaved. Mama had the vow on her the whole time, even when she was carrying the babies in the womb. I'm talking about brothers, sisters, mama, father, and cousins. Everybody rocking like this. In latter years, they would have 3 more sons: Judah, Justus, and Simeon, also 2 daughters, Asia and Lydia. What you think it's a game? What you think we playing? Okay, well, okay, hold on. You know, Paul was an enemy. A lot of people don't know that Paul was an enemy to the Messiah in this movement. Enemy. Man, never met him. He did, and right off the back, he fumbled as soon as he got the ball. All right, we're here. Going out there and teach this. This is what we teach. Go teach this. He get out there and say, eat whatever the hell you want. This sold at the meat markets. Based off the ancient testimonials of Jerome, 4th century CE, and Agesippus, 1st and 2nd century CE. James, the brother of Jesus, was a Nazarite and a vegetarian. He didn't chew on animals, drink wine, strong drink, or allow a razor to touch his head. The Gospel of the Nazarene says the same thing. Peter the Apostle, according to the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, Homily 12, chapter 6, was a vegetarian also. Dang, really? Really? So they was on this 2,000 years ago before Dr. Sebi. Now we know who Saul of Tarsus is calling weak, the true apostles. Amplified Bible, Romans 14:2. One man's faith permits him to eat everything. Really? Gator meat, squid, a hog's ass. What do you mean everything? One man's faith permits him to eat everything, while the weak believer eats only vegetables. Wow. Hold on, Paul. Man, that's your boy, Saul of Tarsus. He said a weak believer over there eating on vegetables. Are you rabbit food eating niggas? Y'all weak. But who you talking about? What would make him respond like that? Why? Because he's been given orders to teach a certain thing that he don't agree with. He don't agree with it. He like, nah. And it's totally opposite of what they already got going on. What was established through Joshua, you feel me? One man's faith permits him to eat everything, while the weak believer eats only vegetables, to avoid eating ritually unclean meat or something previously considered unclean. What do you mean your faith allow you to eat whatever? Nah, bro, like, look, that's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to just eat whatever. You know that, and your doctor know that. As soon as you start having problems and complications, guess what they do? You go to the doctor and they're going to switch your diet up and give you all type of medication. You can't just eat whatever you want. You can't just put whatever you want within. Ain't this supposed to be the temple or the dwelling place of your spirit? Just put whatever you want in there. You did? Look at this. Now we know who Saul of Tarsus was talking about when he said they teach doctrines of devils if they command to abstain from meats. The true apostles, that you abstain from meats offered to idols. James, the just, the brother of the Messiah. Acts 15:29, Paul just said, one man's faith permits him to eat everything, while the weak believer eats only vegetables. So let's go ahead and put it on out there. Paul is saying that if you do not eat flesh, then you are a weak believer. You're weak in faith. You're weak in faith. Look, I didn't write the book. I only told you what was in it. I didn't write it though. One man's faith permits him to eat everything, while the weak believer eats only vegetables. Paul is saying that if you are not eating flesh, you are a weak believer. Boy, hold on. Saul was already commanded to abstain from meats offered to idols by the chief apostle, James the Just. 1 Timothy 4:1. Paul again. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. And you think, oh, well, this got to do with Malaki Macabee in 2022 to 2025. He was already told to abstain from it. He just didn't agree with it. So he started teaching what he wanted to teach. And then came up with his own meaning for, oh, it's only meats offered to idols if they tell you it is. Nah. Nah, Jack. That ain't what the established scriptures say. The established scripture do not say it only turns into meat offered to idols. But look, if he tell you it's meat offered to an idol, don't eat it. For the conscious sake of him that showed it to you. Some crazy madness he was saying. No. Someone saying it's meat offered to an idol, that's not what makes it meat offered to an idol. That's not what makes it meat offered to an idol. That's what I'm saying. It takes a little deeper study of what y'all call the Torah to understand what it is. And then don't worry, we're going to give an example. Right out the Bible, somebody that was not eating the flesh. Look at this. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. Don't forget, Saul already called James and Peter and those with them hypocrites. That's in Galatians. Galatians, the 2nd chapter. He called them all out by name. James, John, Peter, Kepha, Barnabas. He called them all hypocrites. All of them. Verse 3. Forbidden to marry and commanding to abstain from meats. Hold on. You already been told to abstain from meats. So how is this a prophecy about 2,000 years later when brothers rise up and say, hey, look, y'all stop eating the flesh? Stop chewing on them animal sandwiches. Oh no, I can eat. Well, how you gonna eat the Passover? Man, we gonna go over here and get some chicken and we gonna look. Stop eating that shit. That's what we saying, right? But here you go, good old faithful, huh? Good old Paul. Paul said, Paul said in the last days, people will be giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Dang, it's a doctrine of the devil or devils. It's idolatry. It's demonic. To tell you to abstain from meats, that's demonic. Think about what you're saying. Teaching you to abstain from meats offered to idols has everything to do for your benefit, physically, health-wise, and even spiritually. You're not openly communing and feasting with devils. You're not exposing yourself and opening yourself up to demonic influence, drudging influence. What do you mean it's a doctrine of the devil? A doctrine of the devil is to abstain from meats offered to idols. That's a doctrine of the devil. A doctrine of the devil is teaching you to abstain from meats. You don't tell the doctor that when he tell you stop eating meat. You got too much going on. You need to go ahead and balance your body back out. You don't go say, oh, that's a doctrine of the devil. I can eat meat. So a doctrine of the devil is to abstain from meats offered to idols, or to abstain from meats, but not drink this, for it is my blood. Let's stop playing here. All right. The man already been commanded to abstain from meats offered to idols. You abstain from them and you teach the Gentile believers the same thing. So this is not no mysterious prophecy that this man had uttered. And then when we let him drag and come around you, we let our nuts drag, come around you, say, hey man, stop eating that. You know what I mean? Like, look, you feel a lot better. You have a lot more energy. You're going to lose a lot of that water weight and fat, that flesh weight that's on you. You're going to lose a lot of that. You're going to feel a lot better, man. But stop eating that. Right? And you think that's a doctrine of the devil for us to tell you to stop eating flesh. Even though Paul already been commanded to abstain from it. Don't worry, we're going to show you with Torah what it is. Forbidden to marry and commanded to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving to them, which believe and know the truth. How is this a prophecy if Saul already was commanded to abstain from meats by James the Just? Also, according to Jerome, Agesippus, and the Nazarene Gospels, Yahshua, his brother James, and his cousin John the Baptist were all lifelong Nazarites. No chewing on animals, no strong drink, no wine, no haircuts. Now we know who Saul was talking about when he claimed long hair was a disgrace to a man. The true apostles, New and Living Translation. 1 Corinthians 11:4. Isn't it obvious that it's disgraceful for a man to have long hair? We say, and that's the point, isn't it obvious? Well, hold on. All these men were lifelong Nazarites. They had long hair. You saying it's obvious that it's disgraceful for a man to have long hair. Let's go see. Yeah, I see this is a debate now. Let's go see. Let's go get into the whole meats offered to idols. Let's go into the Torah. All right. Now I thought you boys would have went her. I said, they ducked the Leviticus. They not ready at all. They over here wildly benign, son. Well, we right here. Leviticus 17. We'll start at verse 3. Oh, wait. Let's get into it and see exactly what it is. All right, so we can get some understanding, man, because it's crazy out here. Then we're going to go get an example and show you men who stayed away from it because this type of situation wasn't able to be performed. You dig? So by the time Messiah and them, the altars had been so compromised, them brothers stayed away from their flesh, man. You know what I mean? right? And this is where the so-called Jewish man gets the whole idea of kosher food from. Now people are like, man, kosher ain't in the Bible, and you know what I mean? That's not the actual idea of where they get it from is about to come from these next couple of Leviticus situations we about to go through. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. Look at that, round 3, bro. Saul of Tarsus and his band of misfits, the false apostles in Ephesus. Ooh, ooh. Somebody gonna get mad at that one right there, boy. All these sacrifices. What I'm saying. And then wait till you realize that none of it was ever commanded by the Creator. That's a whole nother topic, man. But you know what I mean? We swim in Bible too, just to show y'all what it is. Just to show y'all what it is, man. Look at this right here. All right. What man soever there be of the house of Israel that kills an ox or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or they killeth it out of the camp. Huh? So all this is lawful food right here. This is not pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters. Okay? This is what you call, according to the biblical paradigm, clean flesh. An ox, basically a cow, a lamb, or a goat in the camp. Or they killeth it out of the camp. Look what has to happen. Remember, you're slaying your sacrifices, right? And bring it not into the door of the tabernacle or the congregation to offer an offering unto the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord. Blood shall be imputed unto that man. He have shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. Now look at this right here. If you kill a so-called ox or a lamb or a goat, all lawful meat you can eat, right? According to the biblical paradigm. But you don't bring it to the door of the tabernacle or the congregation. You don't bring it to the doorway to the courtyard with the altar of burnt offering. You don't bring it before the Lord to offer it. None of those cheeseburgers and steaks, that lamb, none of the stuff you eat today has been offered at the doorway of the tabernacle. Or if not the doorway, to the doorway of the temple. The courtyard where the altar is at, the altar of burnt offering. None of that meat has went through this process. So, okay, you're good at some good lamb chops, brother. And look what he say. Any man, what man soever there be at the house of Israel, that kills an ox or a lamb or a goat in the camp, so amongst your people, or they killeth it out of the camp, out somewhere else. And you don't bring it to the door of the tabernacle or the congregation. In our instance, y'all, guess what? There ain't no temple to bring no type of flesh to. There ain't no priest you bringing any of this to. So you kill this lawful meat for the purposes of eating it, but you don't bring it to the door of the tabernacle or congregation to offer an offering unto the Lord. Before the tabernacle of the Lord, guess what happens to you? Blood shall be imputed unto that man. You're a murderer at this point. He have shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. To the end. What is the reason for this? Why do you got to bring it to the door of the tabernacle? Why do you got to offer it before the Lord right there? To the end that the children of Israel may bring their hoop sacrifices, which they offer in the open field, even that they may bring them unto the Lord, unto the door of the tabernacle or the congregation. So bring all that to the temple, right? Unto the priests, and offer them for peace offerings unto the Lord. This is not a burnt offering. This is not a sin offering. This is not a grain offering. This is a simple peace offering. But if you don't bring it, if you do not bring the blood and the flesh, you dig, of this dead animal, this ox, this lamb, or this goat, blood shall be imputed unto you. You're going to be cut off from among your people. Bring that to the priest. Bring that to the temple, to the priest. So they can offer up a peace offering for you. Look what the priest got to do. They gotta play with the blood. Look. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the Lord at the door of the tabernacle. That's the altar of burnt offering. At the door of the tabernacle congregation, and burn the fat. Where does the fat come from? From off the organs, genius. I mean, you had to cut the organs out of the poor victim and cut the fat off the organs. And burn the fat for a sweet savor. A sweet aroma unto the Lord. So the Lord right here liked the smell of blood, flesh, organs, and fat. Verse 7, and they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils. After whom they have gone a whoring. There shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. Well, hold on, Malachi. Let's look at this in a different version. Look at this in a different version. You mean offer your sacrifices unto devils? Hold on. We gotta figure out what's going on here. Let's go to Bibles. Let's get a different version. Oh man. Okay, in KJV, they shall no more offer their sacrifices to demons. See, so if you don't bring it to the door of the temple, and give that sacrifice to the priest so he can offer it up as a peace offering for you, it's considered offered to a devil or a demon. Y'all, we don't got a temple to take no type of sacrifice, no type of lamb or anything that you chewing on. We ain't got no priest and no temple to take nothing to. So if you can't perform that ritual with your cheeseburger or your steak, according to the Bible, the biblical paradigm, then what you're eating is meat offered to idols. And that's for the Genesis boys and, you know what I mean, the priest and deacon and the brother Hassad and divine prophet. Meats offered to idols, the meat that you eat in the Torah, it has to go through a processing. It has to go through a certain process in order for it to be deemed clean. Even the lamb, the ox, and the goat. If that ritual can't be performed, all the flesh that you're eating is considered offered to an idol. It's deeper than just Paul, like when Paul said, well, if they tell you it's offered to an idol, it's offered to an idol. No, if it hasn't gone through this cleansing ritual, it's offered to a devil. Look, NLT, the people must no longer be unfaithful to the Lord by offering sacrifices to goat idols. This is a permanent law for them to be observed from generation to generation. What law is that? The law that if you are going to be eating dead flesh, you know what I mean? And what the Bible says, these are the meats that you can eat. Now, this is the flesh you can eat. If you're going to be eating that, it still has to go through a cleansing ritual. You got to bring it to the temple, to the priest. The priest got to sprinkle the blood of the victim on the altar. The priest got to cut the organs off the victim, cut the fat off the organs. Throw it all on the altar and burn it as a sweet smelling aroma to the Lord. Why do they got to do that? They must no longer offer any of their sacrifices to the goat idols, to whom they prostitute themselves. This is to be a lasting ordinance for them and for the generations to come. Yeah, so if you ain't doing that ritual right there, all the meat you eating is contaminated, and guess what? It's considered meats offered to idols. Yeah. Goat idols. ESV. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifices to goat demons. Ouch. After whom they whore. There should be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. See that? So that was all about eating meat offered to idols, because guess what? Without the proper ritual or cleansing ritual being done on it. The Jewish people try to get that going today when they say kosher. And that's because a priest got to pray over and do all that extra. No, it's in Leviticus. If you can't bring the meat that you didn't sacrifice in the camp or outside the camp, right now we would be considered outside the camp. right? The meat that you slayed to eat, if it has not been brought to the temple, given over to the priest, if the priest have not sprinkled the blood of that victim, that animal on the altar, if the priest have not cut out the organs, cut off the fat, threw it all on the altar and the corpse of the victim, and lit it on fire as a sweet smelling aroma to the deity. If that ain't happened, it don't matter if it's pork, shrimp, crab, or it don't matter if it's lamb or goat or oxen, it's still considered meat sacrificed to devils or demons or idols. So they must no longer offer their sacrifice to the goat demons, acting like prostitutes by going after them. This is to be a perpetual statue. A perpetual statue for them throughout their generation. So look, y'all, if you understand that according to the biblical paradigm, some of us have different reasons on why we don't eat the flesh. But I'm saying according to the Bible, for those just like we diehard Bible, nigga, we can eat the meat and all that. Well, according to Leviticus 17, 1-7, that if this ritual has not been done, if there ain't a temple, if there ain't a priest to officiate at the altar in that temple, if there ain't a priest to play with the blood and sprinkle it and cut out the organs and cut the fat off there, if a priest can't do all that and set that sucker on fire so that it smell good to the deity, then guess what? Guess what? The meat, all the meat that you eat is meat offered to devils or to idols. Hence, you see why they stayed away from it. So if it ain't being done inside Jerusalem the correct way, then you know for damn sure when Paul and them get out to Corinth and Ephesus and Galatia, there ain't no Gentiles even preparing they so-called flesh like that. So what you mean go eat whatever the hell you want? Boys, you crazy? You done lost your mind. Yeah. If that ain't happening in Jerusalem the proper way, what make you think they out there in Galatia or in Rome doing that? So if you understand, that's the ritual that has to happen. According to the Bible, for you to eat flesh that's not offered to an idol. Y'all drop a 6,000 in the chat, man. We're going to keep cooking. Let me show y'all, because we read something about a peace offering in here, right? Let's go read the law on a peace offering. Because you know the peace offering, y'all, has an expiration date on it. Oh, wait. Because it said this is a peace offering. That's what it said in Leviticus 17. Well, let's go read about the law of peace offering. Easy money, man. And that's what you did. If you Genesis boys are listening to, you got to go deep into what meats offered to idols are. Right, Deacon already heard you say you don't even eat meat no more, except for Passover. I was like, okay, he's still bound to a taste. You know what I mean? No, you don't eat meat at all. Flesh, no nothing. You dig? That's just what it is. And there's a reason why you shouldn't be. You dig? Even if you hold on to everything in the Bible is true, there's a reason why you shouldn't be eating the flesh. Well, Leviticus 17 called that ritual a peace offering. That's what that's about. When you go get your food every day, that's a peace offering. It's a peace offering. Look at this. And this is the law to sacrifice of peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. If he offer it for a thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and cakes mingled with oil, fine flour, fried. Man, a lot of oil and bad, a lot of oil and frying going on. Besides the cakes, he shall offer for his offering leavened bread with the sacrifice of thanksgiving of his peace offerings. And of it he shall offer one out of the whole oblation for an heave offering unto the Lord. And it shall be the priests that sprinkle the blood of the peace offering, son. Remember, you got to bring it to the door, right? The tabernacle, the priest got to take the blood and sprinkle it round about. And, yeah. And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering for thanksgiving shall be eaten when? The same day that it is offered. So in other words, any meat that you eating had better been killed that day. Bro, you go to the grocery store, boy, and they be giving you that deep freezer meat. That stuff been in the deep freezer a whole year. And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day that it is offered. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. No leftovers. No leftovers. This peace offering got to get handled. If it's a Thanksgiving peace offering, it got to get handled the day of. The very day that thing was slaughtered is the day you eat it. None shall remain until the morning. Look. But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow or a voluntary offering, it shall be eaten the same day that he offered his sacrifice, and on the morrow also remainder of it shall be eaten. So within the peace offerings, you got several different ways. Either this is a Thanksgiving offering or a voluntary offering, but it's all up under the same umbrella. These are peace offerings. You know what I mean? Now, a voluntary offering, you can have you some leftovers. And if some of it remain on the morrow, you can eat that. 17. But the remainder of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. There is no day 3 on dead flesh. There is no, if you eating on dead flesh, there is no day 3 on it. Look at this, verse 18. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be eaten at all on the third day, it shall not be accepted. Neither shall it be imputed unto him that offered it. It shall be what? An abomination. And the soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity. So that's the next argument. Well, I didn't kill it. I just ate it. The soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity. Now, ain't none of us hunting down killing a whole bunch of chickens, wringing their necks off. But you sure eat. And notice, these peace offerings of quote-unquote clean or lawful meats you can eat. Lamb, ox, goat. All right, so what do we know so far? We know about meats offered to idols. That it got to be the food that you eat, the ox, the lamb, or the goat must be able to be brought to the temple. Given over to the priest. The priest must sprinkle the blood of this offering on the altar. Cut his organs out. So you got to dissect the poor little thing. Cut his organs out. Cut the fat off. And then lit on fire as a sweet smelling aroma. Also, there are unleavened cakes, unleavened wafers, and other type of cakes that are there. But guess what? It's a peace offering according to Leviticus 17. And if you eat it, and you ain't did this ritual, guess what? You're eating meat offered to devils or idols, the very thing that James told Paul to abstain from in the book of Acts. You see, that's why the brother stayed away from it. So in our case, ain't no temple, ain't no priest, ain't none of that. So what should we do? We should stay away from it. Let me give you an example. Y'all think I'm playing? I'm playing. Let's give you a biblical example of men who did not, because their temple was compromised, they didn't eat flesh at all. And these men were actual priests who had flocks with them. Y'all think I'm playing, I know. Tired of this nigga, man. Always be thinking he right, man. We just gonna rap about it, man. Calm down, bro. It's all good. All right, hold on. Hey. trying to pull it up. Well, it's how long. Okay. Let me show y'all this. I ain't gonna come up like that. I'm just gonna type the actual verses in. I'm trying to pull the whole whatchamacallit up. But they acting funny with me. All right, so we're gonna go to 2 Maccabees, y'all. 2 Maccabees. 5 chapter. And then y'all gonna let me pull it up? Stop playing. Let's go show the Maccabees in them, man. How did they eat? How did they eat when the temple was, going through with his? Oh wait, that's ugly. All right, right here. Oh wait. All right, so this 2 Maccabees 5. Let me show this with y'all. The word may be a little crazy, but it's all good. 2 Maccabees 5, and we're gonna start verse 20. Now, the understanding that we just got, if there ain't a temple and there ain't a priest, you dig, and the altar's been compromised, and all types of madness going on, right? Then you're not supposed to be eating the flesh anyway. Right? And let's see if these men of old understood that. 2 Maccabees 5, I'm going to start at verse 20. 20. Therefore, the place itself, talking about Jerusalem, having shared in the nation's misfortunes, afterward participating in their good fortune, and what the Almighty had forsaken in wrath was restored in all his glory once the great sovereign Lord became reconciled. Antiochus carried off 1,800 talents from the temple. So the temple in Jerusalem was under attack. The stash had been hit. Sell out Israelites and told the enemies where our stash is. He carried off 1,800 talents of gold from the temple and hurried back to Antioch, thinking in his arrogance that he could make the land navigable and the sea passable on foot. So carried away was he with his pride. He was thinking that he was going to be able to walk over the seas and all that one day. But anyway, look, he left governors to harass the nation at Jerusalem, Philip and Phrygian by birth, and in character more barbarous than the man who appointed him. At Mount Gerizim, also over in Israel, Andronicus, and besides these, Menelaus, who lorded it over his fellow citizens more than the others, out of hatred for the Jewish citizens. The king sent Apollonius, commander of the Mysians, at the head of an army of 22,000, with orders to kill all the grown men and sell the women and children into slavery. This is when the Greeks was coming up against Israel. Look, when this man arrived in Jerusalem, he pretended to be peacefully disposed and waited until the holy day of the Shabbat. Then, finding the Jews refraining from work, he ordered his man to parade fully armed. All those who came out to watch, he massacred. And running through the city with armed men, he cut down a large number of people. But Judah Maccabee and about 9 others withdrew to the wilderness to avoid sharing in defilement. There he and his companions lived like the animals in the hills, eating what grew wild, or eating only the herbs. Hold on. He got animals with him. He got livestock with him. What do you mean they only eating what grows? Well, guess what? The temple was under attack. The altar had been defiled and profaned. They had sacrificed a pig on the altar. That deal was called the temple of Jupiter Olympus in Jerusalem. And these men are priests in the wilderness, moving around. And when they get hungry, they're not eating the animals that are with them. They're eating only what grows from the ground. If y'all got that understanding, go ahead and drop a 9,000 in the chat. Let me get it for you in a different version. All right. Watch this. Watch this. See if I can find it online to read. I ain't trying to Download no app or nothing. Right here. Dang. Let's read in a different version. Now, so they fight a whole war against these Greeks, right? They fight a whole war against these Greeks. And you mean to tell me the whole time they're not even eating flesh? They're eating only what grows from the ground. That's crazy to me. I watched this, 2 Maccabees 5. Share this tab. Let's get a different version. Maybe that wasn't convincing enough for you. Maybe that wasn't good enough for Val. Look at it. 2 Maccabees 5:27. Remember, the temple was under the. Remember, you gotta have a temple to bring. Come on, y'all, stop. 2 Maccabees 5. Remember, you gotta have a priest and a temple to bring your slaughtered animal that you're gonna eat. You gotta have a temple to bring it to. If you don't got a temple to bring it to, and a priest to perform the proper ritual, the food that you are eating is sacrificed to devils or idols. All right, and since it's a peace offering, it can't make it to day 3. Or guess what? It's considered abomination. Well, what if I didn't kill it? I just ate. The man that eateth it shall bear his iniquity. So now you see why the brothers were staying away from. They stayed away from all that. They, especially in today's time. Pull this kill clock up for y'all in a second. You're like, what? Now here we go right here. 2 Maccabees 5. I'm going to read 25 through 27. Who come into Jerusalem, pretending peace, did forbear till the holy day of the Sabbath. When taking the Jews, keeping holy day, he commanded his men to arm themselves. And so he slew all them that were going to the celebrating of the Shabbat, and running through the city with weapons, slew great multitudes. But Judah Maccabeus with 9 others. Dang, stop. All this. All right. But Judah Maccabee with 9 others or thereabout withdrew himself into the wilderness. Stop. And lived in the mountains after the manner of the beasts with his company, who fed on herbs continually. Why, Malachi? Lest they should be partakers of the pollution. What pollution? What pollution? These are priests. They got their livestock with them. They know how to sacrifice an animal or kill an animal if they get hungry. But guess what? The temple was under attack. The altar is profane. And even though they priests, they not about being that the temple is unavailable. Guess what? They only eating what grows from the ground. They only eating herbs. Because they don't want to be polluted. Why? Because if you don't got a temple or a priest to do the ritual to the Lord, then guess what? The meat you eating on is defiled. It don't matter if it's lamb, ox, or goat. Now we got a group of brothers and sisters and children who ate herbs continually because they didn't want to be defiled. Dang, if y'all understand what meats offered to idols is. They got to go through a processing thing, man. They got to go through a process in order to be deemed clean. If not, it's an abomination and is offered to an idol. Look, even if it's meat that's been 3 days old. Now you go to the store and get that deep freezer meat. That meat been dead for 5 years. And here you go telling myself you finna eat you some lawful food. Meats offered to idols is way deeper than just somebody telling you, oh, see, they say it's a meat offer. No, that's why Paul was told, hey, abstain from meats offered to idols. That's why Peter was like, oh, we know what it is. He ain't supposed to be eating no dead flesh. That's why James grew up the way he did, no dead flesh. Yahshua grew up the way he did, no dead flesh. Yachanan grew up the way John the Baptist grew up the way he did, no dead flesh. Mary, the mother of Messiah, no dead flesh. And even Judah Maccabee and them, who were actual priests, who know how to properly slaughter an animal and do the ritual so it can be clean. Guess what they ate on continually the whole time they was under attack from the Greeks? Herbs. Because they ain't want to be partakers of the pollution. What pollution? The pollution that will make them defiled and abominable. Why? Because there is no temple or altar to bring their flesh to. So it can be deemed as what? Not a sacrifice unto an idol or a devil. Dang, you understand that? You understand that? Dang, shine. Dang, shine. Yeah. It's getting real tricky out here, man. Yeah, would you say dread meat what? Meat sprayed pink and red, man. Man, pull the kill clock up. We ain't look at the kill clock up, man. Pull that up. So you see the Maccabees and them understood. Yeah, ain't no temple. Ain't no altar. Ain't no priest. What is we doing eating any type of meat? It don't matter if it's lamb, oxen, or squid. It's all an abomination or meats offered to idols because you don't got the provisions there to deem it not sacrificed to a devil. So yeah. I heard the boy General Yohana say that the other day. Nigga, I go to McDonald's. I'm like, it's 2026 and you think still going to eat McDonald's? It's 2025, almost 2026, and you got the leaders of the so-called Israelite nation that still eat Mickey D's. Look, listen to me. I done ate no McDonald's in well over a decade. McDonald's? Come on, man. And then all the generals fat, they all overweight. All their stomachs hanging over their belt lines. I'm like, oh my God, man. Not no McDonald's out. You know what I mean? Come on, man. We way better than that. Hell, you still eat McDonald's and it's almost 2026. Y'all ain't never watched the documentary Super Size Me? Man, that dude, this cat ate McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and damn near died. Y'all go look at the documentary Super Size Me. Came out a long time ago. This damn near died from eating that. Man, stop it, man. Stop it, man. Yeah. So Judah Maccabee and them, they didn't even eat the flesh because it had been considered meats offered to idols, man. You see? So we gotta get better in our assessment and what we out here doing. Ain't just be out here, just jaw jacking and whatnot. And just, it's just meats offered to idols. What is meats offered to idols? It's a whole ritual that the priest got to go through before you even throw that thing on your plate. How about we just stay away from it? How about that? You know what I mean? And eventually, you know what I mean? It all come through. Okay, let me see something real quick. We all good. Dang, let me pull this back up. So everybody understand what it is. Everybody understand what it is. Hold on a second. Let's get back here. Dang. Saul of Tarsus. Good old Saul. Everybody been talking about Paul lately, boy. Everybody been talking about good old Paul lately. Oh no, Paul. Now let's get into it. Round 3, ball game. Saul of Tarsus and his band of misfits, the false apostles in Ephesus. Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ by the will of God, to the saints which are at Ephesus, and to the faithful in Christ Jesus. So Saul claiming to be an apostle. Saul claiming to be an apostle in his letter to the Ephesians. We know Ephesus is in Asia, right? Look. 2 Timothy 1:15. You know that everyone in Asia has turned against me. Everyone in Asia has turned against me, especially Phygellus, and Hermogenes. Saul of Tarsus, 2 Timothy 1 and 15. Saul admits he caught smoke from the assemblies in Asia. They realized Saul and his crew were false apostles. Writing his own letters, man. That's what make what we do so dangerous. But we writing Paul's letters showing you, nah, man. Look what he said. Look what he said right here. Look at it. This right here is 2 Corinthians 1 and 8. For we do not want you to be unaware, brothers, of the affliction we experienced in Asia. For we were so utterly burdened beyond our strength that we despaired of life itself. Saul of Tarsus, 2 Corinthians 1 and 8. Saul, in his own words, the assemblies in Asia were hostile toward his gospel. It's crazy because in the end, Paul ended up winning. All you know about is Paul. They don't pick the bros and that like stuff we be talking about. They like, man, look, that if that would have won out, it'd be a totally different world. It would be no Roman Catholic Church. You'd be going to Jerusalem, you know what I mean, and not Vatican City. It wouldn't even be what it is today with the Palestinians and the Jewish people. No, it'd be a total different world had Rome not won that war. So when the dust settled, when Rome started putting their 2 cents in everything and formulating your books and writing your letters and all that, of course they're gonna go with the guy with Roman citizenship. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go with it? It only makes sense. Look at this, 1 Corinthians 15 and 32. And what value was there in fighting wild beasts, those people of Ephesus, if there would be no resurrection from the dead? And if there is no resurrection, let's feast and drink, for tomorrow we die. Wow. Heard that's a quote from some type of Greek. They're quoting Greek poets and all type of crazy madness, man. But knows what he called the people in Ephesus, you know, because Paul has a letter to the Ephesians, right? That's Ephesus. But Ephesus is in Asia. Paul telling you in the rest of his letters what we call hell in Asia. And then he ended up saying that the people in Ephesus are wild beasts. They're wild beasts. And he said he was fighting with them. Yeah, according to Paul, it ain't go too smooth in Asia, boy, especially in Ephesus. John, to the 7 churches which are where? In Asia. Asia. The very spot Paul called all his smoke at. John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you and peace from him which is, which was, and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne. Revelation 1 and 4. John the Apostle. Notice the book of Revelation is addressed to the 7 churches in Asia. The same area Saul caught all that smoke. Revelation 2, 1 through 2. And to the angel of the church of Ephesus write, these things saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. Don't forget, Saul called the people of the assembly in Ephesus wild beasts that he was fighting with. Don't forget that. I know your works and your labor and your patience. Now you cannot bear them which are evil. And you have tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and has found them liars. Look at that. Now, red letter is supposed to be the spirit of Jesus talking. Are you sure, right? So who the hell was skipping through Ephesus claiming to be an apostle? Him and his crew. Who was skipping through Ephesus and all through Asia claiming to be something they wasn't? Paul was not an apostle according to how the apostleship supposed to go down. He never met the Messiah. He didn't witness his baptism or his ascension. So in other words, you had to be a day one to be an apostle. He ain't no day one. You never met him in the flesh. But he did slap an apostle's name tag on. He did go see the real apostles and didn't teach what they was teaching. He did start, his own mission and start calling it my gospel or his gospel. He did start cursing anybody else that talked differently than him and said, let them be damned. He did name drop and call James, John, Peter, Cephas and Barnabas by name. And he go as far as saying those who are of the circumcision, who teach the circumcision, their love muscle and testes need to be removed, castrated, emasculated. This is your beloved Paul. So who in the hell was skipping through Ephesus, according to their own mouth, catching all type of hell in Asia? That wasn't a real apostle. Paul. The spirit of Yeshua is speaking against Paul and his crew. I know your works and your labor and your patience and how you cannot bear them, which are evil. And you have tried them. They had a trial on these niggas, man. And you have tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and has found them liars. Y'all was only one crew of niggas that was skipping through Ephesus that was doing a thing that was teaching opposite of what Yahshua and his movement was. And who was that? Who was that? Was Paul and them? Paul and them. They was even teaching to eat meat offered to idols. Eat meats offered to idols. Sound familiar? Man, I know. What you think is a game? What you think we playing? That's what it is. You still think the game playing, don't you? Dang, son. Look at this right here. Eating food after sacrifice to idols is not a good look, player. That's not a good look, player. Paul's order saying, eat whatever you want. Look at it. Revelation 2:20. Look what it says. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because you allow that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things, what? Sacrifice unto idols. See that? Eating things sacrificed to idols, y'all, is a major, major league violation. And that's why the brothers, even today, you got, a scene in Nazarene brothers salute. You got, brothers that's my faith is brothers and sisters, or why I speak credit gang. You got a gang of us that don't eat flesh at all. And they have a little different understanding on certain things, whatever. You know what I mean? But none of us eat flesh. But that's why. You know what I mean? On top, not only on top of it, it ain't no nutritional value in it for you. You know what I mean? But on the fact of it, especially those that deal with Bible taste, look, the proper ritual that must take place for you to eat that can't be provided. Can't be provided there. You don't got a temple, a priest, or an altar. And if it's not done that way, according to Leviticus 17, it's considered offered to an idol or devils. And if that same type of meat is older than 3 days, if it's 3 days old, it's an abomination to eat. It's unclean. It don't matter if it's lamb, oxen, or goat. You see? All right. So biblically speaking, you say you can stay away from it. That's all you got to do. Right? Let's get back to this dealing with Paul in Ephesus. Acts 19. Acts 19. We're going to read 1 through 3 and 7 through 9. And it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinth, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to where, y'all? Ephesus. Ephesus. The very spot he said he called these very people wild beasts and said he was fighting with them. It's the same spot that had a trial about false apostles and found them to be false and liars. You see that? So he's telling, so it's in the book of Acts. He went to Ephesus. He called them wild beasts. I've been fighting with them in Asia. All in Asia have turned against me. Ephesus is in Asia. Huh? Hey, look, it was times we was in Asia. It was times we was in Ephesus. We despaired life itself. We rather had died than do what we was doing. So this is not a place where everybody out with open-toe sandals on. You know what I mean? With their shirt off, you know, diving in the rivers and swimming. It's war outside. That's what it is. And it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinth, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to Ephesus and finding certain disciples. Okay. So Saul comes to Ephesus and finds disciples or believers already in the Messianic movement. So they are already getting down. They ain't never even met dude before. Who is he? Look at this. See, all you got to do is slow down. If you slow down, you'll see all of it. He said unto them, have you, look what he say, have you received the Holy Ghost since you believed? And they said unto him, we have not so much as heard whether there be any Holy Ghost. Wow. You go get people over talking about this Holy Ghost. They're like, we ain't never heard of that. But they already rolling with the Messianic movement. So what is this new thing he bringing? If you really understood the Holy Ghost wars and the triune wars and how there's trinities all over this earth. But see, you got to get with the gang to understand that. And to get an understanding of who these deities and entities are and how that same situation spilled over in the Bible. You know, it ain't got nothing to do with creator, nothing. Right? If anything, you can call the creator the Great Spirit. We not no Holy Ghost and all that. No, the Great Spirit. They'd actually called him a ghost to mock him. They used to call him the all nothingness, the all void. We just gonna call him a ghost because they denied his all person. Because he's the all person of all things, hearing, feeling, and seeing every word, thought, and action of every man, woman, and child on earth and in heaven. You can't even mess with that. And he said unto them, these believers that's already getting down in the way, and he said unto them, unto what then were ye baptized? They said unto John's baptism. They were baptized under the same order as Yahshua. Yahshua got baptized by John, right? They were baptized under the same order as Yahshua and the apostles. Don't forget, one of the requirements for being an apostle is you had to witness Yahshua get baptized by his cousin John. These disciples were already believers in the message of Messiah, and they had already been baptized. Saul convinces them to do another baptism than the one that was good enough for the Messiah and his disciples. This is all in Ephesus. What you mean, Holy Ghost? And we already went through the baptism that John did with Messiah and did with the disciples. That's what we are part of. But he convinced them to do something different. Look, and all of them were about 12. So you mean to tell me Paul had 12 disciples too? No, hold on. It's right there, Acts 19:7. And all the men were about 12. These Messianic believing disciples accepted Saul's version of Christ or Saul's gospel. Notice these disciples are 12 in number. It's 12 of them. Now, remember, he said he called the people of Ephesus wild beasts. He said he called all hell in Asia. Asia is against him. They're the spirit of life itself, right? He in Asia. And he just converted 12 disciples that's already in the Messianic way to his way. And look what he do. Very next verse, he go right to the synagogue. Synagogue is the church. It's the temple. It's where you're listening to the words of God, supposedly, right? And he went to the synagogue and spake boldly for the space of 3 months. Remember, he said he was arguing and fighting with them in Ephesus, disputing and persuading the things concerning the kingdom of God. The synagogue in Ephesus, or the church in Ephesus, is where Saul goes and argues his gospel and verse of Christ for 3 months. But when diverse were hard, then believed not, but spake evil that way before the multitude, he departed from them and separated the disciples, disputing daily in the school of one Tyrannus. After 3 months of arguing and trying to prove his gospel, Saul left the church/synagogue of Ephesus. And took 12 disciples with him. Coincidence? I think not. Let's get a different version, English Standard Version. Acts 19:9. But when some became stubborn and continued in unbelief, speaking evil of the way before the congregation, Paul or he withdrew from them and took the disciples with him. Them 12 disciples in Ephesus went with Paul. But the majority of the assembly in Ephesus wasn't feeling what Paul was on. Who were some of the men Saul of Tarsus had with him that he called apostles? Revelation 2:2 says it was more than one false apostle. Let's see. Revelation 2:2, I know all the things you do. I have seen your hard work and your patient endurance. I know you don't tolerate evil people. You have examined the claims of those who say they are apostles but are not. You have discovered they are liars. Revelation 2:2. 1 Thessalonians 1:1. This letter is from Paul, Silas, and Timothy. Really? We are writing to the church in Thessalonica, to you who belong to God, the Father, and the Lord Jesus Christ. May God give you grace and peace. 1 Thessalonians 1:1. Saul of Tarsus, Silas, and Timothy, the false apostles. 1 Thessalonians 2:6, 1 chapter over. Nor did we seek glory and honor from people, neither from you nor from anyone else, though as apostles of Christ. Saul, Silas, and Timothy, as apostles of Christ, we had the power to assert our authority. 1 Thessalonians 2 is Saul of Tarsus, Silas, and Timothy. Notice Saul of Tarsus calls himself, Silas, and Timothy apostles. Dang. Sit on down somewhere, man. Dang. Saul of Tarsus and his Roman Herodian connection. Dang, man. If you get some understanding so far, family, y'all go ahead and drop a 12,000 in the chat. Y'all know how we do, man. Y'all know how we do. Easy money. Easy money, man. Israel went off a long time ago, though, y'all. You know what I mean? We can always come back and deal with Paul. I just want to show something else. This deal actually go, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. This deal go hard. Well, yeah, since we right here, we might as well go ahead and mess with it. When did the tribe of Benjamin receive Roman citizenship, man? When did that happen? When did the tribe of Benjamin receive Roman citizenship? Saul of Tarsus, his Roman and Herodian connections. Salute Herodian, my kinsmen. Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus, which are in the Lord. Romans 16:11. Saul of Tarsus. Notice Saul's a relative of Herod the Great, the imposter Edomite king of Judah. Watch this. I think it's a game. Let's go to the source, parallel New Testament. See, a lot of these sources and stuff we get, man, a lot of cats don't have this type of stuff, man. Type stuff be above your pay grade. All right. These are the 3 popular translations. The Beshito, and the Eastern text. Let's go to this Romans 16:11. So right here, what does Paul say? As for the peace of Herodian, my who? Relative. Yeah, Paul was a top op, man. The Herodians was in on all the murders and deaths of Yahshua and all them. They was behind all of it. They were the tax collectors for the Roman Empire, man. Edomites. The Herodians. Not only is Saul of Tarsus a bloodline relative of Herod the Great, he also had Roman citizenship. When did the tribe of Benjamin get Roman citizenship? Y'all say Paul is from the tribe of Benjamin. He an Israelite. All right, so when did the tribe of Benjamin receive Roman citizenship? I'll wait. I need a date. Get it to me. I need a date. When did the tribe of Benjamin receive Roman citizenship? You mean to tell me out of the entire tribe, he the only nigga that gets it? Him. Out the entire tribe. Not only is Saul of Tarsus a bloodline relative of Herod the Great, he also had a Roman citizenship. Did any of the apostles have Roman citizenship? No. Did Yahshua have Roman citizenship? No. When did the tribe of Benjamin receive Roman citizenship? Never. Acts 22, 25 through 29. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion and stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed what you do. This man is a Roman. Then the chief captain came and said to him, tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, Paul said, yeah. So in the book of Romans, he say, salute Herodian, my relative. And now they ask him, are you a Roman? And what did he say? He don't say, man, I'm an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. Huh? He say, yeah, boss, I'm a Roman. And the chief captain answered, with a great sum obtained I this freedom. And Paul said, but I was free born. Paul, so what is he saying? I didn't have to get naturalized. I was born a free Roman. Now, how does he receive? I ain't asking how do you become a citizen of a foreign nation. I'm asking, how do you become a free-born Roman citizen, being an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin? How? How? Then straightway they departed from him, which should have examined him. And the chief captain also was afraid after he knew that he was a Roman. And because he had bound him, he wasn't even supposed to detain Paul. Now, how can Saul of Tarsus claim Israelite heritage, have Herod the Great as an ancestor, and be a free-born Roman citizen? Watch this. On source, scripticaclassica.org. The intervention of Sextus Julius Caesar, governor of Syria, in the affair of Herod's trial. Now remember, Paul says, salute Herodian, my kinsman. He's claiming Herodian descent. He comes from Herod in them. How the hell else are you a Roman citizen? And this is scripticaclassica.org. Y'all go check it out. Watch this. What you think is a game? What you think we playing? We playing? Show you how it is. Right here in the blue. One of the individuals whom Caesar, and this is talking about Julius Caesar, one of the individuals whom Caesar rewarded for his courage and excellent military record in the Alexandrian War was Antipater, the father of Herod. The father of Herod, to whom he granted Roman citizenship. Hold on. So Julius Caesar, declares before the Senate in Rome that the house of Antipater, the father of Herod the Great, are officially recognized as Roman citizens. Why? Because Antipater saved Julius Caesar's life in a war in Egypt. And for that, his entire family, his entire lineage, all of his descendants are stamped valid as official freeborn Roman citizens. Good night. Good night. Paul already said that he's a Roman. Paul already said, salute Herodian, my relative. Herodian, Herod. And we just found out that the father of Herod the Great, Antipater, saved Julius Caesar's life in a war in Egypt and Alexandria. And because of this, his entire lineage is declared in front of the Senate in Rome, put on record as official Roman citizens. If y'all understand that, drop a 8,000 in the chat, boy. Walk you down, boy. Because how in the hell is anybody from the tribe of Benjamin skipping through the ancient world claiming they got Roman citizenship and they free-born Romans at that? You ain't got that unless, look, if you claiming Herodian descent, that's the only way you got it. Huh? Only way you got it. And he said he was free-born. That means his father and mother are descendants of Antipater, Herod the Great. His mother and father were free-born Roman citizens. Paul's father and mother were free-born Roman citizens if he's free-born. Dang, boy. Dang, boy. Dang, boy. One of the individuals whom Julius Caesar rewarded for his courage and excellent military record in the Alexandrian War was Antipater, the father of Herod, to whom he granted Roman citizenship. And I have discussed elsewhere on the nature of this immunity by comparing it with the privileges granted by Octavian between the years 42 and 36. This is to Seleucus of Rhosus. In that paper, I put forward the suggestion that the privileges Julius Caesar granted to Antipater and his descendants. Wow. Were the same as those given later to Seleucus and his family. Really. As we see, Saul was a bloodline relative of Antipater, the father of Herod the Great. This would explain why Saul told the captain of the guard that he was a free-born Roman citizen. To be free-born means you didn't have to earn citizenship and that your parents were both born free. The privilege is solely based on the actions of your ancestors. What you think it's a game? What you think I'm playing? Source, Wikipedia.org, Roman citizenship, Malaki, types of citizenship. Huh? No licking of the finger, no guesswork. Right to it. Right to it. We don't play the funnies with you boys. Right to it. How is citizenship acquired, Malachi? Citizenship in Rome could be acquired through various means. To be born as a citizen required that both parents be free citizens of Rome. So for Paul to say he a free-born Roman means what? Him daddy and him mama were free-born Roman citizens too, and at least one of them is a descendant of Antipater, Herod the great father, the Edomite, and not an Israelite, not from the tribe of Benjamin. Because none of y'all can point to me a time in history where the tribe of Benjamin received Roman citizenship, to where a Negro like Paul could twist his mouth and say, I'm a free-born Roman. Captain of the guard said, I had to earn mine. Paul said, no, I was free-born. Well, to be free-born, Jack. To be free-born, Jack, means what? To be born as a citizen required that both parents be free citizens of Rome. Nah, you ain't even no Israelite. Be honest with you. Not saying Herodian is your kinsman. Not claiming you got free-born Roman citizenship. Not after we just showed that Antipater, the father of Herod the Great, saved Julius Caesar in the war. So he declared before the Senate in Rome that this man right here, Antipater, and all his descendants get Roman citizenship. And here come Paul, who said Herodian is his kinsman. And when he get in a tight jam, what he say? I'm a Roman citizen. Oh, I had to earn mine, not me. I was free-born. No. Look, you got to point to me a time in history when the tribe of Benjamin received Roman citizenship. I showed you where the Herodians did. Show me where the tribe of Benjamin did. Because if not, you're saying he's the only member out of the tribe of Benjamin in world history to have ever received Roman citizenship. And then my next question is going to be, how in the hell what did he do to receive it? And which you can't say nothing, because he said he was free born. He was born one. Oh, well, he didn't do nothing to receive Roman citizenship. I mean, both his parents weren't slaves. They were freeborn. Does that mean their parents were freeborn? And then their parents were freeborn. Hold on. If you can't show me when the tribe of Benjamin received Roman citizenship, you need to stand down talking Paul the Israelite. No, the hell he not. No, the hell he not. Well, bro, he said he's from the tribe of Benjamin. Herod said he was the king of the Jews, my nigga. And he was an Edomite. Your mouth can say whatever it want to say. Huh? But the fact of the matter is, the man already said Herodian, Herod, Herodian is his family member. And he already said he got freeborn Roman citizen. And when he wrote that about Herodian, it was in the book of Romans. Hold on. In order for Saul to be a freeborn Roman with citizenship means that both his parents had blood relations to Antipater, the father of Herod the Great. Let's look at Antipater's family tree. Is Saul in there? That's all we got to do is go look at the family tree. I mean, we can squash all the speculation and all the funnies right now. Is Saul in Antipater's genealogy? Is Saul in Herod the Great's genealogy? Yeah and nay. Let's look at Antipater's family tree. Is Saul in there? Quick note: Saul's Greek name is Saulus. Saulus. I got to go to the blue letter to show you. Oh, close family of coaster boy B. Antipater, son of Antipater. This is major right here, man. Look at this right here. You got Herod the Great over here, Herod B. Antipater, Miriam B. Shimon Boethus, Salome B. Antipater, and Costa Baris. Okay, we get on down here. We got Mattress Back Bernice. Yeah, boy, she was bedding Titus and who else? The general, the second in command with Titus that took down Jerusalem. Bernice was Mattress Back Bernice, and she was giving that thing up to her brother. Yeah, they was weird. But this is Saul's bloodline. Antipater B. Costa Baris, Cypros B. Herod, Herod B. Philip. What's going on? Hold on. Costa Bar B. Antipater, and who? Saul. There is him downstairs. There goes Saul right there, man. So we got him saying, so we got Antipater saving Julius Caesar, and for that he's declared before the Senate in Rome to have full-blown Roman citizenship, him and his descendants. We got that in history, right? We got Paul or Saul in his letter to the Romans saying, hey, make sure y'all say what up to my family over there, man. That's my family. That's my relative, Herodian. Let them know I said what up. All right. Then we got Paul in Acts 22 saying that he's a freeborn Roman. And we go over to, Wikipedia. What does it mean to be a freeborn Roman citizen? That means both your father and mother were born freeborn Roman citizens. Well, dang. And then, okay, we go to Antipater's genealogy. And Saul is in there. His family tree can be found in Josephus, War of the Jews, and Antiquities. But look at that. There goes Saul right there, y'all. Right there. Look at that. There he is. Dang, man. See, y'all always starting stuff, man. That's messed up. Yeah, you can get into like different spots, man. Josephus talk about the dude Saul. Yeah, man, talk about him all over the place. You like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? We can get into some more of that though. But I mean, all these spots in Josephus, Paul is at Romans 16 and 11, same spots. Ananias the high priest, same dude that sent Paul on his road to Damascus, same spot. You know what I mean? Like, but they'll tell you, well, it ain't the same one. All this was going down around the time that Jerusalem fell. And there's a guy named Saul that's related to the king and them, Herod and them, and he's in the same cities as the Paul in the New Testament with the same friends doing the same work. But that's not him. Come on, bro. Antiquity of the Jews. Look at this. Now look at this. Now Jesus, the son of Gamaliel, became the successor of Jesus, the son of Damnaeus. Like all these Jesus they going on. And the high priesthood, which the king had taken from the other, Herod and them, his sons and them had taken from the other, on which account of sedition arose between the high priest with regard to one another. See, so you got the Herodians appointing the high priest. You got an agent of Rome appointing who's supposed to be high priest in Jerusalem. These are Roman appointed kings, and you got a Roman appointed priesthood, and you got a Roman appointed Sanhedrin in the first century. Yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad. Look at this. Luke 20, chapter 10. Bodies of the boldest sort of the people, and frequently came from reproach to throwing the stones at each other. But Ananias was too hard for the rest by his riches, which enabled him to gain those that were most ready to receive. Coastal bars also and Saulus did themselves get together a multitude of wicked wretches. And this because they were of who? The royal family, the Herodian family with Roman citizenship. Saul already told you in Bible he related to them. Now there's a Saul and Josephus that is in the same places, related to the same people, and got the same friends as this. And you mean to tell me it's not the same dude? Look at this. And so they obtained favor among them because of their kindred to who? Agrippa. Agrippa is Herod Agrippa. But they still used violence with the people and were very ready to plunder those that were weaker than themselves. And from that time, it principally came to pass that our city was greatly disordered, that all things grew worse and worse among us. Dang, look at it. You got Saul, you got Ananias in Acts. You got Saul right here. All this is going on. And this, but look, y'all, this is in War of the Jews and Antiquity of the Jews by Flavius Josephus. A lot of the same characters as in the New Testament is in the War of the Jews. They all got written during the same time period. Look at this. Romans 16:11. Remember that, right? So the men of power, perceiving the sedition was too hard for them to subdue, and that the danger which would arise from the Romans would come upon them, first of all, endeavor to save themselves and send ambassadors, some to Florus, the chief of whom was Simon, the son of Ananias, and others to Agrippa, some whom the most eminent were Saul and Antipas and Costobarus, who were of the king's kindred. Salute Herodian, my kinsmen. The Herods are the kings that's over Judea, but of course they're over Judea or Jerusalem as you know, puppets of Rome, but nonetheless, these men are related to them. And that's Saul. Dang, okay. What else we got? This Acts 18, 12, and 27. Let me see if I got it closer. Go right here. Look at this. Look at this. After this calamity had befallen Cestius, many of the most eminent of the Jews swam away from the city, as from a ship when it was going to sink. Costobarus, therefore, and Saul, who were brethren, together with Philip, the son of Jacomus, who was the commander of King Agrippa's forces, ran away from the city and went to Cestius. But then how Antipas, who had besieged with them in the king's palace, but would not fly away with them, was afterwards slain by the seditious. We shall relate hereafter. However, Cestius sent Saul and his friends at their own desire to where? Achaia. Acts 18, 12, and 27. And guess where Paul is at? This very same spot. Hold on, man. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, how the hell does the War of the Jews and the Antiquity of the Jews got the same characters in the same places with the same friends related to the same people? And they all written around the same time from Rome in Greek in the mid 70s, 80s, 90s. I'm gonna let you deal with that for a minute. All right, watch this. Let's go to Acts 18. Let's show you what you think is a game, what you think we playing. Let's show that right here. As soon as we go over here, shut this tab. It's Acts 18. So you see Saul and them and Josephus getting sent to where? Achaia. Acts 18 and 12. And when Gallio was the deputy of Achaia, there it is right there, y'all. There it is right there. The Jews made insurrection with one accord against Paul and brought him to the judgment seat. So Paul, or Saul in the New Testament, is in the exact same spot as Saul is in Josephus. But these not the same dudes. They related to the same people. According to Paul, he has a relative named Herodian, Herod. Well, to Saul and Josephus related to the Herodians. And they just so happen to be in the same city that Josephus is talking about. Let's go down to verse 27. Another missionary journey, right here. And when he was disposed to pass into where? Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him, who, when he was come, helped them much, which have believed through grace. You see, Paul or Saul in Acts is in the very same spots that Saul is in Josephus. If y'all understand that, y'all drop a 2,000 in the chat. We ain't making none of this up, boy. I'll walk you right down with it. No licking of the fingers. No guesswork. No guesswork. What does that say right there? However, Cestius sent Saul and his friends at their own desire to where? Achaia. The same spot that Paul is in Acts 18. To Nero, to inform him of the great distress they were in, and to lay blame of their kindling the war upon Flores, is hoping to alleviate his own danger by provoking his indignation against Flores. Dang, bro. Yeah, so we got them related to the same people, knowing the same high priest, Ananias. We already pulled the family tree out. And now we going through Josephus showing you who is this Saul? Like, and how is he in the same spots with all them? You know what I mean? How is this working? We got more? Oh, that's the same one. We got more. Hold on. What about some more Josephus? Antiquity of the Jews, book 1. Hold on. Josephus plays a key part in this too, because he got a friend. He got a Patreon that's Paul's homeboy, and that's Caesar's secretary. How the hell is Paul, like, come on, how the hell you in the same circles with all these cats? How? I suppose that by my books of antiquities of the Jews, most excellent Epaphroditus. Remember that name right there. It's not a common name. You ain't never heard of no Negro named Epaphroditus. And this is Josephus writing to him. I suppose that by my books of the antiquities or the histories of the Jews, most excellent Epaphroditus, I have made it evident to those who peruse them that our Jewish nation is of very great antiquity and had a distinct subsistence of its own originally. As also I have therein declared how we came to inhabit this country wherein we now live. Those histories contain the history of 5,000 years and are taken out of our sacred books. Listen to this, y'all. And are taken out of our sacred books, but are translated by me into the Greek tongue. Hold on. Josephus is in Rome, living in Caesar's palace in his own private penthouse, getting grapes thrown down his throat by $5 whores. He's on a government pension. This nigga walk on rose petals every day. He just told you that he's writing the histories of the Hebrew people from Rome, and he's the one translating the histories of the Israelite people into Greek. It's him. How the hell else do the New Testament and the War of the Jews by Flavius Josephus got the same characters? In the same places, related to the same people, with the same friends. And it's written in Greek from Rome, and you think him and his literary team ain't got nothing to do with this? Nothing. Well, he on record saying he the one writing it. He on record saying if it's in the Greek tongue, it was translated by me and my literary team. The past 5,000 years of our Jewish antiquity, or this Israelite antiquity or history. Josephus just told you, nigga, me and my literary team, we the ones writing the history of the Hebrew people in Greek. And they ain't in Athens, they in Rome writing this. Could Josephus be a ghostwriter? Could Josephus be a ghostwriter of the New Testament? What are the odds, man? Look, that this is light. I got so much more. We got a whole thing we about to bring out on dude. When we line his writings up and give you the dates when they was written and line that up with the Gospels and when they was written, good night. Good night. You dig? Josephus and his literary team are the ones translating the histories of the Hebrew people in the first century from Hebrew into Greek, and they doing it from Rome. When do the Gospels come out? Not till the fall of Jerusalem. Where did they come from? Rome. What language are they written in? Greek. Greek. Well, they got all the same characters as the War of the Jews. They got Jesus is in there, and James, and John's, and Mary's, and Saul's. And are we to believe that one had nothing to do with the other? He telling you right here. You want to know where it's at? It's right there. Read them and weep. Source, Flavius Josephus against Apion or Antiquity of the Jews, Book 1. He got a Patreon or a friend named Epaphroditus, and he just told Epaphroditus, I'm the one. Me and my literary team are the ones who have translated the past 5,000 years of the Hebrew existence into Greek. If y'all understand that Malaki Macabee ain't making none of this up, y'all. If y'all understand that Malaki Macabee ain't making none of this up, that Josephus and his literary team are the ones translating the Hebrew history into Greek. If you understand that, spin a vortex in the chat, man. We ain't making none of this up, man. Easy money. I got a few more minutes. We'll have to get up out of here. Hey, yeah, man. Man, they didn't switch the algorithms, Bronze, like a mug, boy. Algorithms flipped all the way around. Let's keep going. Josephus is telling you he the one doing it. Now you bring me somebody else that's doing it. On record, he's saying that's me. Mm. Mm. Why is Josephus mentioned in Nero Caesar's secretary Epaphroditus? Why is Josephus mentioned in Nero Caesar's secretary Epaphroditus? Why is it that Saul and Epaphroditus are longtime friends? Saul not only has citizenship, he's connected from the Herodian appointed high priest all the way up to the household of Nero Caesar. To hell with the French connection. Saul or Paul has the Roman and Herodian connection. Philippians 2, Paul again, verse 24 through 25, but I trust in the Lord that I also myself shall come shortly. And I suppose it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and companion in labor and fellow soldier, but your messenger, and he that ministered to my wants. Hold on, man. Epaphroditus is Caesar's Nero's secretary. Joe Flavius Josephus's Patreon. I mean, he's the one making it possible for Josephus to publish his works. Huh? And you mean to tell me he just so happened to be the best friend with Saul of Tarsus? Make it make sense. Wow. Look at this. All the saints salute you, chiefly they that are Caesar's household. How the hold on. Don't you ever look, don't you ever bring Paul business. Don't you ever bring Paul business to me ever. I'm the roughest, toughest. Hold on. Don't you ever bring Paul business to me ever. Hold on. That boy say, all the saints salute you, chiefly they that are of Caesar's household. How in the hell is Paul connected from the Herodian appointed high priest in Jerusalem all the way up to Caesar's household? Hell, he even got a best friend named Epaphroditus. That's obviously very, very well off. Dang, dog. In closing, Yahshua of Nazareth had a family that he entrusted to continue his legacy and mission. Let's take a closer look at his bloodline. Matthew 13, 55 to 56. Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph and Simon and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then had this man all these things? Mark 6 and 3. Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph and of Judah and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. Really? Source, Gospel of the Nazarenes. Chapters 5, 22 through 23. What did it say? It also came to pass in the second year of Jesus' life, a second son was born of Joseph and Mary. His name was called James. As with Jesus and John, he was consecrated unto the Lord, a Nazarite from his mama's womb, according to the way. See that? In latter years, they would have 3 more sons, Judah, Justus, and Simeon, also 2 daughters, Asia and Lydia. Dang. What else we got? Anyone notice the names of Yahshua's brothers are identical with some of his apostles? James, Joseph, Simon, Judah are all the names of the Messiah's brothers. He had a brother named James and a disciple named James. Okay. He had a brother named Joseph and a disciple named Joseph of Arimathea. Even his earthly father is named Joseph. He had a brother named Simon and a disciple named Simon. He had a brother named Judah and a disciple named Judah. Is this a coincidence? Or are we to believe that some of his apostles were his actual brothers? See, this is a bloodline thing. It's family. It's caliphate. The right to rule, you dig, through bloodline. Bloodline. This was a caliphate, man. That's what it was. That way he passed it to his brothers. Huh? But other of the apostles saw none save James, the Lord's brother, Saul of Tarsus. First Galatians 1:19, 1 Corinthians 9:5. Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles? And as the brethren, the brothers of the master, and Peter, Cephas. Huh? We say as other apostles and as the brothers of the Messiah. Yeah, a lot of you think it's a coincidence that the names of majority of his disciples are actually the names of his family. Even John the Baptist is his cousin, but he got a disciple named John too. There's something else going on, man. Rome got a hold of your stuff. When they did, boy, you know what I mean? When the dust settled, your history came out from overseas in Rome in the Greek language. First bishops, Christian bishops of Jerusalem. Look at the first two. James and Simon, both brothers of Messiah, kinsmen of Jesus Christ. Then Rome won the war and took over, and when the dust settled, what you have is a whole bunch of Roman Vatican misfits. Yeah, boy, it get real. It get real. All right, I want to show y'all this too. We out of here. I gotta go pick my baby girl up, man. She's texting me now. Abba, where you at? Hold on, dang. Hold on 1 second, little girl. You know I got you. And I'm still early. You ain't even ready yet. Over tripping with me. All right, watch this. Watch this, family. I'm gonna show you one last thing. I'm gonna show you how they was addressing the bro. James and them, man. It wasn't a game. Bros was really on their stuff. What you think is a game? What you think we playing? Show y'all how the bros and them was getting down. Right up in his. I'm finna show. What you think is a game? What you think we playing? You know what I'm saying, man? Look, we swim in Bible too. What is y'all talking about? Ante-Nicene Christian Library, or the writings that precede the Council of Nicaea, right? So the writings that precede the 4th century, that come before. All right, let me show y'all. All right, some of the table of contents. Now look, this is the letter of Peter to James. Look how he addressed James, the brother of Messiah. Look what he said. Peter to James, the Lord, or the master and bishop of the Holy Church, under the Father of all, through Yeshua Mashiach, which is peace always. See how Peter addressed James as the master and bishop of the Holy Church? See that? Dang. So who the hell is Paul? How the hell did he just come out of nowhere and just look? When the dust settled and when Rome won that war, everything went overseas. Everything went overseas, man. You know, man. One scholar say it's like God switched to the side of the Romans. Crazy. Tore a portion by who? Yeah, right. He about the driest dude in Israel. Please. All right, now look at this. This is the letter of Clement to James. Look what it say. Clement to James, the master and the bishop of bishops, who rules Jerusalem, the holy church of the Hebrews, and the churches everywhere, excellently founded by the providence of God, with the elders and deacons and the rest of the brethren. Peace be always. Now see that? Huh? So man, this is easy money what we do. As you know, shout out to the CGG Credit Gang, man. They dig. But this is what we do. This right here is almost 100 pages. Almost, no, I'm tripping. It's 70 pages. You know what I mean? It's just heat. It's just heat, man. It's just man. It ain't no way around it. You dig? We actually put your boy Paul in a blender. And your boy Tazar, y'all jumped out there and tried to and attempted to debate me on this topic. And I used this same document right here. To book him, to put him right under, to put him in a blender. And they voted for me. They voted for me, and I'm talking about the polls. I'm gonna do all the judges and all that, but the polls and all them voted for me in his backyard. I don't even be over there. They don't know me over there. But I came through that deal and still took the edge. Put that boy in a blender. And then we go into every aspect of it. And the most powerful thing is we use Saul's own letters. Y'all, he telling himself. He telling himself. All you gotta do is just slow down, man. So all praises, glory, and honor to the Creator, the God Maker, the Maker of suns, moons, and stars. What James writes, let's say, you write more studies of the Gospels were written in Koine Greek, the lingua franca of the Hellenistic. We need to be weary of these musings with spiritual discernment of the cultural context. Yeah, man. Man, all you gotta do is pay attention. Hey, your boy Josephus, he said, look, I'm the one writing. So if anybody can bring me anybody else that's writing it, then that's good. But come on with it. Because right now we got on record, him and his literary team are the ones writing the histories for past 5,000 years of the Hebrew people from the language into Greek. And he got a Patreon that's obviously very, very rich and well off. And he's the one funding Josephus to be able to publish his works, War of the Jews, Antiquity of the Jews, and his biography. You ever read his biography? He straight tell you. He got a government pension for selling out. Because the nigga sold out. The nigga sold out. He straight came out and told Vespasian, Numbers 24 and 15, the messianic prophecy about the star coming out of Jacob is you. You dig? And this nigga started giving up intel on what the brother's numbers at, and for his, his reward for being a turncoat, a Roman citizenship, a penthouse in Caesar's palace, similar to Paul. Paul retired in Rome on light house arrest. Yeah, he got him a wife. He got him some whores to throw, some grapes down his throat. He received the books of the Hebrew people because remember Tyson sacked Jerusalem and took everything. And then what else he get? He got all types of amenities. So yeah, dude was straight sellout, man. Straight sellout. But the crazy part about it is you wouldn't know nothing about the first century had not Josephus' works been out here. There ain't nothing else in the first century written. Gospels, Josephus. A little bit of Philo. That's it. You ain't got nothing else in the first century. You don't think that's a coincidence? And then all the same characters that's in Josephus is in the New Testament. The Gospels ain't getting written till after Jerusalem falls. 70 AD. The earliest gospel was Mark. Matthew, all them written in the mid-80s. When Jesus died in 33, you talking about this stuff being written down, y'all, 50 to 70 years after the death of the Messiah. And you still think these are eyewitnesses writing this stuff down? Nah. I get way deeper. You get into the compiling of the Bible. Don't worry, we got some stuff coming out, but it's gonna rattle. Let me show y'all one more thing before I get it. Okay, yeah, I'm cool. Show y'all one more thing. So everybody think we playing. Let's see if I got some time. Bang. Let me see something real quick. Show you how we lined this up, even with Paul. Lined him up. Easy money. See if that pop up for me. Get down there. I want to show y'all this chart. And I got like 2 or 3 more of them that's about to get made too. Shout out to my brother C-Law. He's gonna make me a couple more of these charts. And we really gonna be cooking after that. You know how visual our people are, man. That's that. Okay, dang. I forgot to pull this up. But I had this out on I had this out during that debate I had with your boy. Right here, bing. Bing. I know. Somebody finna be mad, boy. I know. Mally, you always starting stuff, man. I can hear you, Millie Mouth Misfortunes right now. You always starting stuff. It's like we can't never just, dang, man. Let me see if it pop up for me. Let me show y'all this chart. Game changer. Yep, right there. That's what I need. Open that deal up. What's going on? Oh, there you go. I'm gonna say. That's what I need right here. Dang. All right, now let me share this with y'all. And then I got to go. Let me share this. Easy money. Easy money. Now look at this right here. Bang! I know. Can't stand this blockhead. Look at him. Always making us think harder. Look at this, y'all. Shout out to my brother C-Law. Shalom. So what we did, we took the, since everybody thought we was playing, the Saul in the New Testament and Saul and Josephus side by side. Side by side. Look what we got. Look at this. Saul in the New Testament, Herodian related. Romans 16, 10 through 11. Saul and Josephus, Herodian related. War of the Jews, book 2, chapter 17, section 4, verse 418. Second row. To the left, Saul in the New Testament, close to the Herodian appointed high priest. Acts 4 and 5, Acts 9, 1 and 2. Second row to the right, Saul and Josephus, close to the Herodian appointed high priest. Antiquity of the Jews, book 20, chapter 10, section 4, verses 213 and 214. Third row on the left, Saul in the New Testament, caught hell in Achaia. Acts 18, 12, 13, and 27. Saul and Josephus caught hell in Achaia. War of the Jews, book 2, chapter 20, section 1, verses 556 to 558. You thinking like Josephus' works ain't being used to write the New Testament? Like what you think this is? How is this possible? Saul in the New Testament, fourth row down the left, suspiciously close with Rome from citizenship up to Nero Caesar himself. Acts 22, 25 and 29, Philippians 4, 22. Saul and Josephus, suspiciously close with Rome from citizenship up to Nero Caesar. War of the Jews, book 2, chapter 20, section 1, verse 556 to 558. Last row on the left, Saul in the New Testament has a close friend named Epaphroditus, who just so happens to be Flavius or Nero Caesar's secretary and Josephus's Patreon. Saul and the last row on the right, Saul and Josephus has a close friend named Epaphroditus, who just so happens to be Nero Caesar's secretary and Josephus's Patreon. Antiquity of the Jews, book 1, chapter 1, section 1, verse 1. Dang, son. Yeah, we got receipts. Y'all should already know that, though. Yeah, we got receipts. We got receipts, kid. Time about Cal people. It's the game. You know how we work, baby. What out to the fam, man. Number love, light, and all that good stuff in between. It's your little brother Malaki Macabee, Megaton Light Bomb. Y'all can always go back and watch. A little bit over 3 hours. And as usual, yeah, I might come back on a couple hours too. Just, you know, I've been running around lately having these conversations with everybody. If anybody want to have a convo, and you know, that ain't nothing to go ahead and hit the live and let's see what we get with it. All right? All praise to the God Maker, the creator of moons, suns, moons, and stars, the almighty creator that always was, is, and ever shall be. Mighty and great spirit, the mighty and great I am. It's your little brother Malaki Macabee, Megaton Light Bomb. Hey man, it's hot. These you crew streets, but there ain't nothing the gang ain't put out there. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing to it. This is what we do. So y'all keep your ears to the street. Shout out to the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. Yeah. We love y'all too. Love y'all too, man. You know, to them, man, ain't nothing but your regular. Got a lot of fire things we growing. It's slow cooking. Like, man, these next couple megaton light bombs is gonna be catastrophic. Catastrophic to the deity. I know how we get down. CGG, man, Credit Gang, or Don't Bang. Shout out to my brothers and sisters in the chat. Shout out to my bronze. Cosmo Cow TV, man. Y'all go like, subscribe, share. Bronze Yo Report, man. Cosmo Cow, Prince Shooter Bomb. All these brothers, y'all go like, subscribe, and share. Jump on these brothers' channels. Chop it up with the fam. Yeah. I'm glad everybody got some understanding today. Foes up, y'all already know. Credit Gang, gang is in the building. Gang is an acronym. We ain't set tripping, but we all God tripping. Gang means gods and Nirvanian goddesses. So we're the creator gang. We're the creators, gods, and Nirvanian goddesses, the sons and daughters that you will never pray to or worship ever in life. But we will, you understand, trip with the gods that got you in bondage. We tripping when it comes to that. All day, every day, 24/7, 365. Nigga, in your sleep, I'm tripping. You dig? There's a no-fly zone around these ways. Love all y'all. You dig? Make sure y'all keep your head on the swivel motion. I don't want it up with forever because our maker is perpetual in motion. To the end, my friend. Out this video.